Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Miserable Cup. I'm your host, Misery. With me again is Red Dane, my friend Daniel. How are you doing today, Daniel?
Hey, not too bad, Mike. Good to see you, man.
Right on. We have an awesome group ahead of us. I'm going to bring that up for you guys so you can see it. It's going to make it a little bit less big and bright. Check it out. We have a TERRAN today. We have 2 TERRANs today. Vindicta, Rob, McIntack, and Epic ready to go very shortly. We're going to start off with Vindicta versus Root Rob. That'll be our first match at TVP. And I have been watching a lot of Rob lately in Discord, watching him stream, and I am excited to see what he is going to bring to the table because he's been playing aggressive. He's been doing cannon rushes. He's been playing the macro game. So it's going to be really cool to see what he decides to bring out against Vindicta. Vindicta, on the other hand, he's been streaming a lot on the Korean server. So he's been training pretty hard to just get really good. And I think I saw him at like 5.4 or 5.5 on Korea recently. So he's no joke himself. It's going to be really cool, this group.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Rob's games. I've been following him for a while now, and he's, like you said, a very flexible player. And of course, I love watching dynamic Protoss at its finest. So can't wait to see what he brings to the table.
That is right. It's going to be really cool. Like I said, the versatility that he brings is just, he has so much in his arsenal, and it's going to be really cool, even from the Terran perspective, to see what he does against Vindicta today. And I'm really excited to see Vindicta play again. It's been a while since I've seen him, other than a few times on Twitch recently on the Korean server, but got the opportunity to meet him last year, DreamHack Montreal. Really cool dude. And funny story about Vindicta, when I got to meet him in Montreal, I was playing games with Guitar Cheese, who's on the same team with him, and me and him were just playing in like the little StarCraft area, and Guitar Cheese was making fun of me because he realized that I played on like 12,000 DPI.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, so Guitar Cheese goes and grabs Vindicta, like the best Terran standing in a 10-foot radius. He's like, "Hey, Vindicta, come check this out. Play with this mouse for like 5 seconds." So he sits down, moves my mouse like half an inch, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And immediately was like, "Who's playing here? What idiot is playing with this mouse sensitivity?" And I was just, "Hey guys, hey guys, it's me."
Oh
So he's
God.
like, "Yeah, so first thing you're gonna do is change your mouse sensitivity or your mouse DPI down to like 800, and then you're gonna buy this mouse or this mouse, and then you're gonna buy this keyboard." And then I later on that day I got a new mouse and a keyboard because Vindicta told me I was bad and pretty much bullied me. It was great.
Oh wait, so to be clear, you play on 800 DPI now?
I do play on 800 DPI now. It was a really big struggle when I first switched over, because my mouse would go from one side of my screen to the other if I barely touched the mouse. Now it's a lot more precise and a little bit slower.
I was gonna say, like, I really noticed from because I've been watching your stream since, oh, I don't know, dude, like back in the day. Like we used to practice together like 10 years ago. And I remember seeing just the way, like seeing your mouse go across the screen and stuff. I'm like, how does he do anything? Like, just flying around. And I never understood, but you're still a very good player, even with the 12,000 DPI.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really
But
happy I
yeah.
fixed that. It's been almost a full year since then, because that
I
happened
um
in
I
September.
recently started doing I did the same, but I was only at 1800 DPI, and that was a big step down for me. So I can't imagine going from what was it, 18,000? Like
12,000, 12,000. Not
12,000,
quite that high. But yeah, it was
12,000 DPI, dude. How?
oh, the first week that I switched down, I was losing my mind. I was like pulling my hair. I was like, "This is so slow. This is so hard to move everything." But
Yeah, it's kind of, I had to go through that a lot when I first started playing Counter-Strike. Um, Not that this is a Counter-Strike stream, but anyone who's like trying to get seriously good at Counter-Strike will know that you have to lower your DPI, and like you have to lower your sensitivity in game so that you're like can barely move a 180-degree turn on your mouse if you bring it all the way across your mouse pad. And when you first start doing that, it feels so wrong. Like it's like, yeah, you can't flick 180 people in Counter-Strike, but when do you ever need to do that? Like 90% of the time, it's better to be able to just shoot at what's in front of you.
yes, yeah, I know in Counter Strike it's really important to be able to like really flick around very quickly, and I think that's why my DPI was so high before was with playing first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, and some of the other first-person shooters I played. And then when I when I switched to StarCraft 2, when StarCraft 2 was released, I just never changed it. I was like, oh, this is probably the DPI everyone plays on, and yeah, it was like 9 years of bliss where I
think
had
there's
no
definitely
idea.
a range. Like I know Vibe plays on a high DPI, but his DPI is like 1800. Like that's a high DPI for StarCraft.
Yeah,
Fucking 12,000, man.
that's what pretty much everybody told me was that. Yeah, the highest DPIs are like 1200 to 1800, and Maru plays at like 600. But then people are like, that's a little bit slow. You probably don't want to go that low that early. But I mean, if I think what I said was, well, you know what? I'm already dropping down like 11,000 DPI. What's another 200?
So did you end up going with 600?
I think I left it at 8 after.
Right,
I think I
okay.
got like really frustrated at 6, and then I went up to 8. Not that that makes a huge difference considering the jump that I made, but yeah, I think I stayed at 8. I haven't checked it
Yeah, the
since I
biggest the
changed it.
biggest thing with that low sensitivity is that you have to use your whole arm instead of just your wrist, and it is better for you in the long run as well because you end up putting more strain on the rest of your arm instead of just all on your wrist. Well, at least you should be, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. You know what? I think I'm sitting properly at my desk nowadays, and I used to get a lot of problems in my right wrist, my mouse wrist, and now, I mean, this past year or so of streaming, I haven't had any issues with it since, so that's been really nice.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of issues to be honest, but I've been making some changes and trying to get. I don't really know exactly what it is, but just I guess streaming 5 hours a day every day is gonna hurt your wrist no matter what. But not used to it. I play so much worse when I've got pain.
Okay, so I'm just talking with Rob right now. He's saying he has some internet issues. Um, just gonna confirm with him and see like what can happen or what the solution may be. So bear with us, guys. We're almost ready to go into game one, which will be series one, which will be Rob versus Vindicta. Um, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if he's gonna be okay. I don't want us to be getting disconnected all the time. Vindicta. All right, look at that. We got a host from Red Dane. Thanks, buddy.
I don't think anyone's on my channel right now anyway because I've already yelled at them to all go here.
Awesome.
Should be alright.
Oh, we did have a sub from Frosty. Thanks, Frosty. Matthew, love you, buddy. Barely legal, he says. That was a good one. While we figure out the vetoes. So again, I'm just talking with Rob here to see what a solution could be for his internet.
Maybe we have his game go afterwards while he resets his router or something. Not sure what the issue is.
Yeah, I'm just asking right now if he needs to reset his router. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's a really unfortunate day for that to be happening.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the miserable cup if we didn't have some technical difficulties.
No kidding. No kidding. Oh well, fingers crossed it'll all be okay. Rob's internet will work out and he'll be here and they'll show us some good Protoss games. So who's your favorite to get out of this group, Mike?
Who is my favorite? My heart says Vindicta, and then I think it'll be between Rob and Epic. I think McIntyre is a little bit of the underdog here, as he's kind of, I don't want to call him an up-and-comer because he's been around for a while now, but like I definitely have seen him streaming a lot more on Twitch in the last probably year and a half, and I got to meet him actually in DreamHack last year as well. But I would say he's probably the underdog, although I think I saw him pretty close to 6K recently as well on the NA ladder, so
It's pretty impressive.
yeah, it's impressive, and I think that's around where all these guys are going to be. epic. I think he's like 6k Terran and then like 5.6 and 5.5 with his off races in GM right now. So he's
Oh my god.
he's just a ladder monster.
Just plays all the races in GM. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, man. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, here I am
with
just
one, let alone three.
struggling to get to 5k.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I do wonder, you know, are pro gamers and like top GMs, are they just like better humans than us? Are they just cut from a different cloth? I don't know. I've practiced a lot and I'm nowhere near 5k.
All right, Rob says it's his ISP. Xfinity has not been good today, I guess, or there's something up with it, but you know, we'll do our best to hopefully accommodate. Hopefully there's no, you know, if he does disconnect, maybe we can resume from replay and make things work, but if that's not the case, then yeah, we'll figure something out. Hopefully both players don't disconnect.
Yeah, that would be well, actually that might be perfect. Then we just restart.
Yeah. Hopefully neither player disconnects is what I meant to say, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, we're just about underway. We're in lobby. Pootikins needs to just pass host, I think. We can start 3 minutes early. Referee. Okay. We're all good to go. Both players are set, and countdown is on.
Let's jump into our first game of the night on Everdream Ellie.
I am so excited to cast a TERRAN! Ah!
It's a good one too!
I know. Except I forgot to see where Necro was on the spectator list, so we'll have to go through and check.
I think he's 4.
Think he's 4? Alright. He is indeed 4. So in this best of 3, in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Root, it is the blue Protoss, Robbie!
His opponent, playing red Terran pieces in the top right-hand corner, he is Vindicta.
From Alpha X.
Alpha X. Quite the clan. Quite a large clan, aren't they? What team?
They are gigantic. Alright. I feel like I see new players in that clan almost every day. I've heard them... I've actually heard people call them the evil empire of StarCraft because they just keep swooping up players left and right at all levels.
The young Jedi, they turn them into the Sith.
Exactly.
I know of them as well because I think they compete with my clan for being the largest clan in the world internationally because they have people on each server. So I like at some point the Drunken Outlaws were number 1, but I think they might have overtaken us or something. They are just massive on all 3 servers, or at least on NA and Europe.
I was about to say I think I've seen a lot of Drunken Outlaws too in StarCraft, and at first like I only knew you in that clan, and then I saw a couple other players like who's is a gamer Richie that's also in there, the Stim to Win guy.
Richie's in Reason right now.
Okay.
But we've got like our notable GMs would be like Fighting Frog. He's one of the best random players in the world. He's like he's a Drunken Outlaw, born and raised, bit of a legend. He plays all 3 races at GM as well, so just a beast.
Yeah, you know what? I've known Fighting Frog a long time. He's one of my only friends on the EU server, actually. Funny enough.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you knew Frog. Yeah, he's a nice guy, very approachable, very helpful. He's always up for coaching, always up for helping people.
Right.
Very nice guy.
Awesome guy. So, no crazy builds yet. We saw Robbie searching for the proxy potentially at the start with his probe, but nothing crazy from Vindicta. He's getting his factory up 1-1-1 with an expansion and a quick bunker. So, looks like he'll probably be working towards a mine drop. This is pretty normal for that. He has the Reaper out already on the other side of the map, and it's gonna get shooed away very quickly by this Adept. We'll see if he wants to try
He's
and
already
micro
getting a
little
hit
bit.
off on that and pathing the Adept Shade right near that Reaper, but I think he's going to be able to get out without any problems.
Yeah, he gets out. He gets a little bit of information, not much. He sees the pylon out front of the Nexus, so he should be, you know, aware that there's nothing on his side of the map with just that pylon placement. I think that, you know, makes it very. You can almost confirm it there. Ooh, he's not careful though. He's gonna lose the Reaper. He's just sacking for the information. So
Yeah, he sees that there's a Twilight and a Robo, so he knows basically what he's up against here. It's almost guaranteed to be a 4-gate Blink build, but it doesn't have to be. But I mean, that's definitely the most popular build right now for Protoss.
Yeah, and I've seen Robbie do this recently, the 4-gate Blink, but I've also seen him mix in DT with this. So this will be interesting as the series goes on. It is just the best of 3, but he might open the same way and add, you know, a dark shrine next time. But he is getting Blink now, researching. So like I said, it's going to be that 4-gate Blink build that Parting has popularized recently. It's very strong. We'll see if it doesn't look like he's actually going to go for the mine drop anymore, Vindicta, as he gets the scout off. I think that's the right call. I think if he goes for the mine drop, he just won't have enough units at home to really defend against that many stalkers. So instead he's opting for a Raven and adding his 2 extra barracks before taking a 3rd CC.
It's a very economic focus for Vindicta. It's just going to try and weather the storm of these Blink Stalkers. It's a good read from him. It still obviously doesn't in any way mean that this build isn't going to work. From Rob, this is a very, very dangerous build. It's hitting at a very, very tight timing here as well. So he's already got the Warp Prism out on the way, crossing the map, and I believe he's got was that an Observer in position as well? No, just an Adept at the front, just to make sure there's no move out from that Terran. Make sure that he's able to do his pressure safely without, you know, having the Terran walk right by and just kill everything.
Right, and the Siege Tank's not quite out yet, so with this being as dangerous as it is, it looks like the Siege Tank will be finishing just before the Stalkers cross the map. So it's going to be a little tight, you know, getting around that Siege Tank. It'll depend where Vindicta decides to put that first Siege Tank. He does see the Stalkers now with that Marine, confirms that this is indeed the build. He's got some SCVs already pre-pulled to repair the bunker, and the Siege Tank is in such a safe spot. So if he commits to attacking that bunker, it's going to be a bad time for him. But looks like instead he's just going to poke away at a supply depot, get what he can. He sees he actually sees the tank with the Warp Prism, so he knows not to commit up there.
Ooh. He does have a nice little blink here onto the bunker, and it remains to be seen. Okay, he does get the bunker down. This is going to open up a vulnerability, but Vindicta immediately replacing that bunker. I think he's going to be able to stabilize as soon as the second tank comes out.
Yeah, and you know what? Getting the energy out of that Raven too, getting that auto turret down and not losing anything is a pretty big deal. And he's even going to pick off a refinery, a couple of Marines. As long as he's careful, he loses 1 Stalker there. Still looking to be a good trade.
Nice damage from Rob so far, making sure to keep that pressure up while taking his 3rd base. So he's getting his charge, he's getting his 3rd base, he's going to be getting his upgrades fairly shortly here. So he's going to be able to stabilize here with the superior economy and contain Vindicta on 2 bases. But Stim is nearly finished, and I think once we see that Stim finish, you're going to see Vindicta start to take map control back.
Yeah, and he's actually adding in 2 more barracks, so he's going to go up to 5 barracks while on 2 base. So we might see a very large SCV pull at the same time once combat shields and maybe +1 finish. So this could be a very scary push from Vindicta once he has all those upgrades, because that's when TERRAN, like you said, they can take back the map pressure or the map control. And look at this, Stalker's going into the main base, going to start targeting down a factory.
Yeah, and Rob being very careful not to overcommit to this. A small section of the Terran army is going to stem on top of these Stalkers with a few choice blinks. He is going to lose a few, and Vindicta with the flank is going to pick off a large majority of these Stalkers, only saving 3 of them in that Warp Prism. So devastating loss for Rob right before the massive 2-base all-in here from Vindicta. This is looking very dangerous.
Yeah, that was an excellent flank from Vindicta. He got everything on the low ground set up. He read that like a book, and it looks like we might have... Oh, Daniel.
Disconnecting here. I can still hear you.
That's not good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Yeah,
okay, if it does it again, I'm going to give it like... I'm just going to drop, dude.
Okay.
Drop.
We'll get
it's
you
all
back
you,
for the
Mike.
next game. I'll do my best to carry on without you, all right? Dan disconnects from the game. We do have 3 Stalkers now. being controlled by Rob. He's trying to get as much value out of them as he can, but losing those stalkers to that flank is such a huge deal. Now Vindicta going to move forward with 2 tanks to try and get some pressure on this third base. However, there's charge completed, a lot of charge zealots. This is a very heavy gateway army, and we do have a lot of gateways from Rob, so he's able to reinforce after losing all those stalkers, and actually going to chase down the tanks. Gets a medevac full of 2 tanks. That is a big pickoff for Rob, and if he keeps chasing, he might get another medevac. So he's actually going to keep pushing forward with all these zealots. He has a huge army now. This is so much more than I expected him to have. And now he's charging forward with the zealots. He's going to target the tank with the stalkers. It goes down very quickly, and now Bio retreating onto the high ground, and it looks like Vindicta is going to have to pull the SCVs from the main, or from the natural, to defend the zealots. And just outside of the range is the Warp Prism, so the Bio not able to pick that off. This is very dangerous. While Vindicta tries to get his third base up, he's got to be very careful threading the needle here and defending with all these, against all these gateway units. This is a lot of Protoss, with the army supply just barely favoring Robbie, but those charge zealots, once they get on top of the Bio, it's very dangerous. But now some Widow Mines joining the fight. We have Widow Mines pushing forward with Bio against just the Stalkers. The charge zealots on the other side of the map. Stalker is going to have to retreat from the third base, and this Warp Prism still warping in a lot of zealots. So there's going to be a lot of beefy boys to tank for the Stalkers. Robbie moving again from this to the south location at this third base, going to target the CC, forces the lift, gets a little bit of damage done with the Stalkers. SCVs are going to be forced to repair that, and now the Warp Prism going to the main base of Vindicta. Looks like he's going to try and warp in over there, but he may have actually lost it. Yes, and Widowmine actually picked off the Warp Prism, and now a big engagement as the Zealots charging forward go over to the top of the mines, get softened up quite a bit, and the Marines and the Marauders are able to push the Stalkers back. It's just back and forth fight over this third base while Rob keeps reinforcing with a lot of Zealots. He now has 1-1 on the way, Ghosts on the way in production for our Terran player. He is also getting that enhanced shockwave ability to make the Ghost EMP radius larger. It's going to help a lot against this heavy gateway army. There is a drop on the other side of Vindicta's base. He's going to send it around to try and put some pressure on the third base economy of Root Robbie. And Rob is just going to keep pressuring this third base, keep trying to force the lift. Does not get the lift this time. Instead, you know, a good SCV pull and a decent stim from Vindicta, able to push back some of Rob's units. And although he is pushing him back, he is using a lot of medevac energy. These medevacs are almost dead empty on their energy. If they run out of energy, then they're not going to be too useful in the coming fights. So just a few... oh no, he does commit a huge stim there. All of his units stimming, and Rob even trying to target Marauders that are weakened and, you know, just blink away. So nice little pickoffs from Rob. Rob's drop on the other side of the map is going to get wiped up very quickly. He does not get the medevac. It does boost away with 1 Marine, but oh, you know what? 2 Marines are... he's actually going to get all of it. So Rob cleaning up that drop on his side of the map and then still pressuring at this third base. But now that Ghosts are being added to the mix, we got to see what Rob's transition is going to be. He's still very heavily invested in this gateway army, not yet taking his gases at his third. He is taking the Rich Geyser at his fourth base though, and actually losing a lot of Zealots here in this engagement. And a Warp Prism trying to get into Vindicta's main. It does skirt around the missile turret. It's going to warp in some Zealots, and this is where things are going to get very hectic for Vindicta. He does have some units here to defend, but a lot of Zealots being warped in. 6 Zealots being warped in. A scan going down, confirming the fourth base for Rob, and there goes the Warp Prism. That's going to deny any more harassment here, and actually very good job defending that. Well, now Rob is going to go and try and go for the CC. He goes for the CC and gets it. Even though he gets all of his army blanket EMP'd, he now just retreats. He's going to lose the Zealots, and this is going to force a big attack from Vindicta. And if Rob can hold this big attack coming forward, I think he's going to win this game. He did... sniping that CC is just going to do so much to hinder the economy of Vindicta. Rob just needs to hold on now and hold this next push, because now there's really no way if... ooh, nice pickoff from on the medevacs here. Rob is going to actually go around. He realizes he can't really take a straight up fight against Ghost, and he's going to actually do some more damage here at the natural base. He's going to blink forward and kill the CCs here with all these Stalkers, and now Vindicta's in this awkward position. He wanted to attack so badly, but now realizing he can't lose another CC, lifts the natural CC, and the Stalkers are going to blink into the main and start attacking workers and the CC into the main base. So some Some workers going down. Now the Stalkers are trying their best to try and focus fire the CC. SCV's repairing it, however, and now the army is retreated for Vindicta. These Stalkers are all trapped. They're going to try and blink away and skirt around the outside of this base, but they are going to get cleaned up eventually by the entire army of Vindicta, and just everything gets wiped out except for a small handful of Stalkers. On the other side of the map, Robbie is going to have to start producing a lot of units to be able to hold the coming attack again, with Vindicta just struggling to keep a 2.5 base economy. He's got to make something happen here. And now again, Stalkers attacking this third base location, just keeping Vindicta on his side of the map. As much as Vindicta wants to be counter-attacking right now, he has to keep defending these Stalker run-bys. And now there are enough units here to defend this third base location. A couple of Widow Mines getting picked off, and now these Stalkers are finally going to get trapped. The main army picks off all the Stalkers, and now Vindicta is on the offensive. He's going to move forward towards the fourth base of Rob, but look at how many charged Zealots are. Great EMPs on all of the Zealots, but there's just so much Protoss here. All right, the charged Zealots are going forward. They are all EMP'd, and they're going to take some Widow Mine hits, but now Ghosts going down. There's just a handful of bio here. They are retreating back to some more Widow Mines, and this is just the march of the Zealots here. Doesn't matter how many EMPs go off. This is just going so well for Robbie. He's cleaning up so many units while on a better economy, but he does get pushed back. The power of Terran is pushing back. The upgrades are fairly even. It is 1-1 versus 1-1 with Ghosts. And Rob, on the other hand, just halfway through his 2-2. Liberators are being added for Vindicta. He cannot lose the CC. It forces to lift again. And the Zealots are now killing some workers. The Zealots are going to die, but the Stalkers make it away. But again, Vindicta forcing him, being forced to lift his CC and losing a lot of workers at that location. He's just having such a hard time getting this 3-base economy. And his main's almost mined out. His natural's going to be mined out very soon. And now DT's being warped in. Going to take out a unit there, or one SCV before getting sniped. But the economy now is just in shambles for Vindicta, and he's starting to try and add missile turrets to each base so that these DT run-bys don't happen to him. But as long as Robbie doesn't invest too heavily in DTs and starts adding some splash damage of his own, either whether it be Colossus, DT, or Colossus or Disruptor or High Templar, then he should be in a great position here with this 4-base economy to Vindicta's barely 3-base economy. A couple of Liberators going to the north side of the map, but there are units in position to potentially catch those. I think he did see, it looks like Rob did see them, but he has Zealots in position, not his Stalkers. So 2 Liberators going to hang out behind the third base of Rob, maybe use those as a distraction while a double drop is heading to the main base. This is a great multi-prom attack from Vindicta. He's going to be able to attack the main base and maybe depower some gateways, and then at the same time try and get some harassment done with the Liberators that just go down, actually. And look at this, a nice Artosis pylon here. It's powering so many things. The Gateway, Robo, and Forge all unpowered now. So great pickoff from Vindicta. But again, it just looks like Rob has the better economy for now. And once he starts wiping up these counterattacks, if he can get a straight up engagement with his army against Vindicta, he might be able to take him out. He's able to get a couple more Widow Mines that were left on the map, and we might see a big Doom drop, actually. Vindicta loading everything up, but he's actually retreating with it. Okay, that's interesting. I thought he was going to pick up and drop into Rob's main, but no, instead picks everything up, drops back towards his third base, trying to secure that. It's already done. Maybe he's going to try and get a fourth base started, but right now it's just lots of units. He's pumping out as many units as he can right now. A couple of DTs hidden on the map. And Rob's still with this very gateway heavy army. He's adding a couple of Archons. I don't know if I quite agree with that, seeing as we have a lot of Ghosts now. And stimming forward is Vindicta. He's going to get forward and start picking off Zealots. And Rob just, he turns around. He's all right. He's ready to go. And EMP's going off on the Archons. They die before getting a lot of damage done. And actually, Zealots getting trapped behind the Stalkers. And now it's mostly Stalkers against Bio. He's doing his best to blink micro against this. And now some more Zealots joining the fight. They're going to push this Bio back. Stalker's getting a little bit of damage while the Zealots charge forward. But I think Vindicta's actually doing a great job here. He's pushing forward and killing a lot of these units. Rob is reinforcing back at his fourth base. He's going to try and get a few more pickoffs with these Stalkers. More EMPs going down. These Stalkers' shields and HP are so low right now. But Zealots helping out again. Going to charge forward and tank for these Stalkers. Stalkers DPSing down as many units as they can. Picking off a lot of Ghosts now, actually. There's only 3 Ghosts left with very low energy, but a lot of Medivacs. And if he can clean up these units and clean up the Medivacs, that might be it. So Rob is pushing forward. He's going to get all of the bio. All that's left are a couple of ghosts and a ton of medevacs, which are slowly getting picked off by these blink stalkers. And now SCV is being pulled off the line to try and help out these ghosts. EMP kind of whiffs there, and a few boys going down. 4 SCVs going down in that engagement. And here we go, more stalkers being added to the mix. Just this really heavy gateway style, lots of aggression, not really stopping and waiting for splash damage, just trying to, go, head against the wall almost. It's just, it's strength against strength, and not really worrying too much about spells, except for, with the exception of these ghosts, just straight DPS versus straight DPS. We got lots of zealots and stalkers, and just warping in more reinforcing gateway units here for Rob. We have the main CC flying off to a 4th base location for Vindicta. He desperately needs that economy going. I don't think Rob has seen it quite yet. He has to know that his opponent is doing... He must know that there's another base on the map soon because of this economy. It's just Vindicta has too much to only be mining from this base, but maybe it looks like Robbie might only think that this is it because he's not looking anywhere else on the map right now. Nice little bait on the EMP, whiffs on a lot of the stalkers as they blink out of the way. 3-3 is on the way for our Protoss, and our Terran's still on 1-1. He's gonna have to rely heavily on getting good EMPs as the 3-3 upgrades are done. And look at that, CC goes down. Now Vindicta reduced to 2 CCs. His main that floated down to the 4th location, and his natural, which is just barely mining. Big transfer of probes to a 5th base now for Root Rob. Rob is going to have a huge economic lead here. Vindicta has to make something happen. He's going to stim forward on these stalkers, but there's just so many units and there's ability to reinforce back at home. It looks like there's a drop over at the 4th base. Oh no, it's just a Liberator. So a big warp in of stalkers and a recall forced to that base, and Vindicta in a lot of trouble here. He needs to make something happen. He's trying to make some drops happen. He's trying to get the Liberators to harass a little bit and deny some of the econ, but we have 53 probes to 34 SCVs and only 2 CCs, so we don't even have the luxury of a lot of mules for Vindicta, and just more and more zealots being warped in. Once you get that critical mass of gateway units, lots, maxed out zealot stalker army, you don't really need a whole lot of splash at this point. And so Marine's gonna stim forward and pick off some long distance mining probes. It's a nice little pick off for Vindicta, but he needs a lot more to start going his way to turn this match around. And here comes Rob, about to pick off a few of those Marines. Stalkers not in position for this Liberator, so now the Liberator finally going to go down. Does pick off 1 stalker though, so that's not bad. A few probes, actually kills 10 probes because so many were long distance mining there, and has another Liberator at the other position. So not bad harassment from Vindicta, but Rob's army right now is so terrifying. And even though they are on equal army value, I think with the upgrades that Rob's army is just so much scarier and a little bit more harassment. Rob is actually taking quite a bit of damage from these drops. The worker count now even actually in favoring Vindicta, 35 to 32. So Rob kind of stuck in an awkward position now, and he does have a couple of stalkers in position to deal with this drop. There's multiple drops on the map trying to harass and keep doing damage. And look at this, the shield battery's gonna, the shield battery overcharge going to be able to protect these units from these Marines that are left over. And yeah, that overcharge is going to keep them alive for quite a long time. Those Marines are not doing anything. So a huge attack now coming forward. Lots of zealots, but a good concave here as most of the units are hiding behind the CC. But we saw this happen before at the other 3rd base where you're hiding behind your CC. That's fine, but that gives Rob a perfect opportunity to target the CC down. And with +3 attack on these stalkers and zealots, as soon as it gets surrounded, that CC is going to die very quickly from all these gateway units. Taking the attention away from Vindicta at the 3rd base. Now Rob engaging at this 4th base location, but taking some huge EMPs and actually losing a lot of zealots in the process. So now it looks like Vindicta has a more sophisticated army despite not having any upgrades really. He's only 1-1 against 3-3. He's gonna try and fight this, get some good EMPs off, but are just so chonky. These zealots are tanking so much damage, and the shields will regenerate fairly quickly. I think that Rob is just going to retreat now, try and get a few pickoffs here, but he's doing a great job of forcing the energy out of the ghosts Vindicta can't really afford to keep building ghosts, and I think Rob is actually, again, with the economic lead. He's got DTs going to that third base. Is forcing the SCVs off the mineral line. There's no detection at that base, and again, with only 2 orbitals, it's gonna be very hard to keep scanning these DTs that keep kind of making their way into the other bases. Nice Widow Mine connection right there. Weakens up these zealots even more. And Vindicta forced to lift and scan at his third base. He's essentially mining one base. Just one base here. Some disruptors now. Ooh, this is where it gets very scary for Vindicta. A few disruptor hits and it is all over. And disruptors mix pretty well with Blink Stalkers. And the more that Rob picks off here, while on a little bit of a better economy, he's actually forgetting some of his zealots at home. And now, again, this Liberator harassment doing pretty good. It's going to be able to pick off a bunch of probes from that location, and there's nothing here to really defend against that. The zealots are even taking some damage. A couple of stalkers warping in. They're going to clean up this Liberator, but ooh, that's a lot of damage being done from that one Liberator. And Root Rob moving forward again, trying to pick off more bio units and keep the pressure on Vindicta's side of the map. Another drop happening over on Rob's side of the map at the 6th base location. And these Marines might actually pick off a Nexus. I don't think there's any units that can really follow up and keep this alive. It forces the cancel. There it goes. And even gets a few probes that are long distance mining now. So we're in this very awkward low econ game. And now look at this. He picks up. He's going to go into the dead space towards the main. But there are some warped in stalkers to defend that. That is not going to happen on Rob's watch. So now we have the main Bioforce from Vindicta crossing the map. Those medevacs are so low on energy. Here come 2 disruptor shots though. Oh, this is gonna be huge. Oh, he whiffs on the first one, whiffs on that, and now some big EMPs. What could have been really tragic for Vindicta ends up being a very good fight for him, as just, I can't believe those shots just barely missing. And now Vindicta getting EMPs off on all of the units. The army supply dropping so low for Robbie. He's only got 30 army supply left over. It looks like Vindicta's actually coming back in this game. He's just got the perfect engagement there. And there it is, GG. Rob is your victor, or Vindicta is your winner for game number 1. Whew. That was tough. That was tough.
Yeah, sorry about that, Mike. I'm not really sure what happened. I lost the connection to BattleNet, but my internet was rock solid, so
that is
just maybe BattleNet problems. I don't know.
That is unfortunate, but you know what? I'm glad to have you back, because I cannot carry like that every time.
You did a great job, dude.
Thanks, buddy. All right, so it looks like game number 2. Let's see. What is game number 2 going to be on? I am not looking at the party chats. So we had Everdream first, then it looks like it'll be Eternal Empire for our second map. You only have 350 down, 50 up. What did you think of that?
That game?
That game, Dan. Tell me your thoughts. I know you disconnected from it, but
to be honest, I'm still watching the end of it. I'm sorry with the 2-minute delay, but yeah. So I haven't seen this style in a while. Maybe because it's fallen out of favor in Europe. But this is really cool from Rob, seeing the Mass Gateway style with the double upgrades. I think Vindicta, I don't really know why he delayed upgrades so long. I guess it's to make sure that he has enough units to keep fighting over and over again. But it was kind of strange, and oh, I'm just seeing those whiff disruptor shots now. So looks like he was a little late on. I think even then he still should. Rob could have transitioned into AOE a little bit earlier, but yeah, missing those disruptor shots I think really is what loses this game for him.
I saw the Novas over top of all the ghosts for a split second, but then they kept going. I was like, no, I couldn't believe that they whiffed.
Yeah, and I guess Vindicta just knows something that we don't, right? About this matchup. Like, I know I've heard people say that TERRAN can delay their 2-2 so that they maintain map control, because as soon as you get your 2-2, you'll have less units. But like, he just never got 2-2.
All right, just waiting for the next game to go up. Yeah, I can't believe that without upgrades, the TERRAN was able to trade so well, but with blanket EMPs and a lot of bio, there's no storms, there was no Colossus, no disruptors until super late. But man, what a good game from both players.
Yeah, it's honestly that just inspires me to go back to doing that style because I really enjoy that style as Protoss because it makes it a very scrappy game between you and the Terran. Like you've got units all over the place, he's got units all over the place, and it just makes it a very fun sort of multi-prong experience. I'm gonna go back to trying that, I think.
All right, looks like we got everyone here. Necro is in 4th position. Here we go, game number 2 on the way. Rob versus Vindicta on Eternal Empire.
Hopefully I'll be able to watch the whole thing live. That'd be great.
Yeah, you know, hopefully you would. And, you know, then I don't have to solo cast and people have to listen to me only talking about how much I love Terran and how much I want Terran to win.
Vindicta's doing so well here. Rob is just not as good as him because he plays a worse race. Yeah,
all right. So now, up, down, 0-1 in this best of 3 in the red trunks. It is from Root Gaming, Robbie.
His opponent, he's up 1-0 in this series, shows he doesn't need upgrades to beat Protoss. He is Alpha X's Vindicta.
Oh, mama. All right. Eternal Empire. Great macro map. You know what this map is also really good for that I realized recently? Hiding Protoss buildings.
There's so many little nooks and crannies.
There's so many.
And
it doesn't look like it if you look at the mini map, but then like the more you like closer examine it, there's a lot of cheeky little places you can put them, but I don't think that's what this probe is doing. I think instead what the probe is doing is just looking for proxies, making sure Vindicta isn't putting any barracks on his side of the map. So looks like he's good. And an SCV scout coming out from Vindicta. So nothing crazy yet. Just going to be regular standard opening from both players, it looks like.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I know that the double wall off at the top of the Terran's ramp has become more and more popular recently. I guess Vindicta doesn't really go for that, so he's going to allow Robbie to get the scout in, but that's also going to mean he gets his economy going a little bit better. So I do like this style from Vindicta.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit greedier because, you know, he's putting the CC on location. He's going to get his CC much quicker because he's not investing in that earlier supply depot to keep the probe out. At the same time, he is going to give up information. You know, the probe gets in, sees the gas, doesn't see us. I don't think he saw the second gas geyser, but he can assume by seeing that the CC's on the low ground that there isn't a second gas geyser quite yet, and that'll likely have a factory follow-up after a Reaper comes out. And look at this cheeky little hiding SCV. Just gonna hide.
I love when players do little things like this. Just hide it. You know, nothing sophisticated. Just I bet you're not looking here. And I'm gonna get a free scout off.
What did I say at the start of this game? Sorry.
What's that?
What did I say at the start of this game about hidden spots on this map?
There's a lot of spots, Mike, and this is a great one. No, I don't think it's likely that Vindicta's gonna scout this, but you never know. He might have the sixth sense. He's keeping that SCV hidden right in plain sight in Robbie's base, so he knows a thing or two about how not to be seen.
That is right, and you know what? He gets the Reaper out, but he's not. Everything looks normal. I think that's what I like best about this with Rob. Ooh, the Adept is actually gonna get on this Reaper. Will he get it? No, he will not.
Just a misstep there from that Adept not being able to get that. I don't know if he would have got it either way, but a little bit of a move command there, but does scare the Reaper away, and he's gonna cling for his life and run to the other corner of the map where the proxy pylon isn't.
Right, and now if Vindicta can get in with the Reaper, actually he scouts all the way around with the SCV. This is such a key scout here. He sees very little when it comes to tech. There's no tech in the main base. There's no extra pylon. There's only 2 pylons here. If he doesn't see a 3rd pylon, he's got to know something's on the map. And the Reaper even poking in at the natural. Just such good timing. And now it finally looks like this Reaper is going to get picked off by the Adept. There it goes. And oh, look at this. On the bottom right corner, the Hellion, the scouting Hellion finds it all. The DT Shrine, the Twilight Council, the Robo, it's all there. It's the plan. The jig is up. The Hellion got it.
This is devastating for Rob. I was actually kind of hoping he was going to go for just a normal build, but everything proxy just to throw off Vindicta. But with everything being scouted, including the Dark Shrine, I mean, this is going to force out a reaction from Vindicta. He's going to have to build a turret or something, maybe a Raven. Yeah, it looks like he's already building a Raven anyway. He had his spider senses tingling, but I don't know. Do you cancel the DT Shrine if you're Rob here? I don't think so.
I think you have to commit to the buildings being built. You can't cancel it. If you cancel it, then you create this opportunity for the Terran to do something on your side of the map. Even if he doesn't scout you canceling it, if you cancel it, you have 0 ways to put on any pressure at all. Even if you have the Warp Prism with 1 DT or even an empty Warp Prism sitting in dead space, that's something that keeps the Terran at home. Whereas and with Rob taking a 3rd base now, if he just cancels it all and tries to rebuild it in his main, that's so much lost time building those buildings. And you know, he's not going for the pylons yet. He's not trying to deny, you know, having those buildings there. He knows that they're there, and you know, Vindicta is just being aware. And you know, he's got the Raven in position, but I think he's playing it right from Rob's side.
Yeah, I like this. Taking a faster 3rd base, getting the Warp Prism active in the enemy's base, going for charge instead of going for blink. It's gonna, you know, he's probably not gonna be dropping too much with DTs out anyway. Getting some nice trades with these DTs actually, right under a Raven with all the bio there. The DTs just showing that they're actually quite strong in terms of just overall damage. He needs to make sure he keeps these DTs alive. Only loses 1. Nice little bit of play there from Rob.
I loved everything about that. The balls that he had there to drop right underneath that Raven, pick off a couple of units, only loses 1 DT, and a nice, I don't know if we caught it, but there was a nice little thing I noticed on the minimap was that Vindicta actually scanned that corner to make sure that Rob didn't cancel any of those buildings, or to confirm whether or not they were canceled. So I think if Rob had canceled, that might have triggered Vindicta to move out with something, but we have DT blink in production. Everything is there still. So you know, Rob is committing to the DT here, and it's gonna do some damage. He cancels the supply depot, gets a couple of workers, and now only loses 1 DT for that. So the threat's still there.
It's to keep this Warp Prism alive, and it doesn't need to be said, I guess, that this is his lifeline in this game. This is what's keeping Vindicta pinned to his side of the map. If that Warp Prism goes down, this is very, very scary for Robbie.
Yes. So we have a couple of Immortals coming out as well, and like you said, if this Warp Prism flies over a mine, it's dead. It's already taken some real HP damage, so he has to be very, very careful now when he pokes in with that Warp Prism. If it goes down, Vindicta moves across the map and just wins the game, I think. He anti-armor missiles and wins the game, but he is going to try and move across right now. The Warp Prism is going to go over a Widow Mine, and there it goes, actually. Oh, that's so heartbreaking for that to happen again. Now Vindicta's going across the map. He has no threats on his side of the map other than that 1 Adept, which will get cleaned up very quickly. And Rob now on the back foot. He's only got some Zealots and DTs. He does have blink though, so he might try to blink onto the army. There's that anti-armor missile.
This is looking really scary. I love the DT blink here, but the preemptive scan is going to force them to turn into Archons. They're being pushed into the enemy army. Everything's kiting away, but there's so much Protoss here, and the anti-armor missile is beginning to run out. But really nice micro from Vindicta in this fight. I think he's whittling this Protoss army down. It doesn't look like there's very many Zealots left.
No, but you know what? There's definitely enough here. He's going to get these Widow Mines, and he has his 3rd base, and it looks like it's going to favor Rob here. He's okay. He had a very nice blink.
The power of Protoss is going to let him defend there. He didn't even need the battery overcharge. There was some nice kiting micro there from Vindicta, but with 2 Archons, with the Immortals, everything else, it's just too nice of a mix there at this early game stage.
Yeah, and now Vindicta finally getting rid of that pesky Dark Shrine. There are 4 more Dark Templar on the map though with blink, and look at this. Rob throwing down another Dark Shrine. I love it. Committing to it after it dies in the corner. That's such an awesome play, because you know, as the Terran, you think, all right, I killed the Dark Shrine. He wouldn't possibly make a second Dark Shrine and try to keep this going, right? No. Rob commits to it, gets more SCVs. He's actually going to pick off all the SCVs going to this 3rd base and then be able to blink away.
He does get caught out there, does lose 1 DT for his troubles. All I'm really learning from this is that Rob is a complete Chad of a Protoss. He's not actually trying to be sneaky with these DTs. He's dropping them right in Rob's face under detection. Does not care, but a big Widow Mine drop into natural. Nice pull on the probes. Doesn't have blink quite yet though, does he?
No, you know what? Blink did get picked off by all the units in the corner there. It was being chronoed out, but sadly it did not finish in time. And yeah, like your point to Rob just being an absolute Chad, I 100% agree. And it goes back to that when he was dropping with right underneath the Raven, and he's just going to keep it up. And Scan is going to pick off that DT. And look at this, a big attack moving across, lots of charge zealots, an Archon, few Immortals, and looks like we're going to see that gateway heavy style again from Rob.
There's a big difference in this game though, which is that there's a lack of upgrades for Rob here. He doesn't actually have the upgrade advantage here going up against a Terran that has +1 attack upgrade. So this is going to be a very different story. Yes, he does have the Archon as a power unit and a couple of Immortals, which is going to help, but I think if Vindicta just turtles up on his third base, he has a pretty good chance of holding this.
Yeah, and he is getting a little bit of harassment done too. The Ghost Academy is on the way. Some Zealot's going to charge in and soak up some Widowmine hits while the main army goes into the natural base. No, he's only going to send a handful of Zealots. All right, that was almost kind of cool, but, you know, Rob thinks better of himself, says, you know what, I don't want to get trapped in this choke. Better to just, you know, do the little bits of damage I can, pick off a couple SCVs, maybe a Marine or two, and then reposition and try and get a better fight. And look at this, those DTs just being pesky. Gonna keep blinking around.
He has managed to be keeping Vindicta mostly pinned into his base for the majority of this game, but now Vindicta's got a superior worker count, he's got superior upgrades, and he's looking to be taking a fourth base here. Yes, those DTs are annoying and they're blinking around, but every single time they go in, a couple of them go down, 3 of them actually go down here for Robbie in the third base of Vindicta, and now this is looking really solid for Vindicta. He's stabilizing now on 3 bases, better upgrades, better army composition, and Robbie is transitioning into Robotics Bay, which is going to give him the chance to get some more AoE going. Hopefully some disruptors or something will even things out, but he's definitely got a mountain to climb.
Yeah, I think he has to go for disruptors for the get that comeback factor in. As you said, the worker advantage towards Vindicta is very noticeable. Look at that double robo disruptor coming out, and another harassment tactic here with the Liberator with the Raven in the main base at the same time. So the same kind of harassment that we saw from last game is going to happen this game, and there's a lot more dead space on this map to work with. So the Raven and the Liberator are going to be able to keep picking off bits of workers here, and if there aren't Blink Stalkers in position, then that's it's going to be tough for him to deal with all this.
But that Raven going down is a nice little pickoff from Robbie. He doesn't quite have his blink yet, but with these Stalkers pre-positioned for this Liberator, he should be in a pretty decent spot, but the Liberator hasn't been scouted yet. It's getting so many kills. He's not pulling the probes. This Liberator definitely worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, getting 9 probes is a big deal. Now 2 more Liberators into the main base while posturing outside of the third base. Vindicta doing a great job of just keeping Robbie all over the place. He does have one thing for Rob is that he does have 2 Colossus coming out with thermal lances, and he already has disruptors on the map, so he's getting that scary splash damage composition set up. There's no Vikings yet. There is +1 air weapons on the way and 2/2 on the way for the bio, but no Vikings, and just a couple of Liberators are being used for harass. And actually, it looks like an all-army mistake being done by Vindicta, and he's gonna lose the Liberators.
Yeah, does lose both of them without trading out for really much of anything, but he has successfully kept Robbie under 50 workers. They're both on equal upgrades now, but Robbie is completely forgoing his 2/2, so he's going to allow Vindicta to get his own 2/2, which is going to open up a nice timing for them. For the moment, they're both even on upgrades, but it's not going to be for very long.
Yeah, Rob is going to have to start chronoing upgrades like a madman to catch up. It gets very scary when the Terran's on 3/3 versus a lower upgraded Protoss army. Yes, you can have all those splash units that are very scary, and you can swing a battle at any time with a couple of disruptor hits, but the same could be said with the Ghosts. And if the Ghost control in this game are anything like last game, there were a few whiffed EMPs, but if he gets a couple of blanket EMPs off, it could be very scary for Rob.
This Colossus count is scary enough now because there weren't Vikings in production earlier on that I think there's going to be a timing here for Robbie to be pretty scary. There's only 4 Vikings out, and if you've got the same amount of Vikings as Colossus, the Colossus are probably going to do a lot of work. There's not too many Ghosts right now, but the 2/2 is just finishing for Terran. He's taking his 4th base now, so he should be able to defend that just fine.
Yeah, and I love this 4th base location. I've noticed this a lot more with Korean Terrans on this map, that they're opting for this kind of vertical or north-south 4th base and not really going for the the horizontal one, either the one at the very top 12 o'clock position or the rich Vespine. You don't really see that as much. I'm liking the north-south just because it's right next to a big ramp that you can defend quite easily with either mines or big bio balls. And look at this, Rob going forward. He's actually going to lose his disruptors, and blanket EMPs going off on all the gateway units. There's still one disruptor up. It's going to go, and nice splits happening from Vindicta. He saves a lot of the ghosting. More EMPs going off, a couple more disruptor shots going, and Blinkstalker's trying to pick off the Vikings before they get on top of the Colossus, but the Colossus are going to go down one by one. It looks like this could be it. Vindicta is just crushing this army. All that's left is one disruptor. Oh my goodness. That was a huge engagement for Vindicta.
Those EMPs completely blanketing everything, and really the beginning of that fight, all those disruptors just walked right into the Terran army and they were focus fired right away. So a little bit of a micro mistake there from Robbie. Hopefully that's not going to fail him in the next engagement. He needs to make sure he gets those crucial disruptor hits, especially now that the Terran is marching on him with over double the army supply, better upgrades, better unit composition. Robbie's in a lot of trouble here.
Robbie needs the best disruptor shots of his life if he wants to win this game. He gets one Marauder with that. He's got a couple more disruptors at his disposal, but I don't think, as long as, you know, Vindicta just keeps splitting the way he is, I don't think that these disruptors are going to be enough. The fourth base is definitely going to get canceled here, or taken down. There it goes. It gets canceled, but all that's left now is, I think, one or two disruptors off cooldown, and EMPs going off on the gateway units, and these disruptors just don't have their ability yet. GG is called, and Vindicta takes game or series 1 2-0. He's going to advance to the winners match.
Yeah, really nicely played from Vindicta there. That was a lot more convincing than game 1, I have to say. Just making sure that he scouts everything on the map. I think scouting that Dark Shrine was the real deciding factor there. From there on, Robbie was playing from behind, wasn't he? He was really trying to come up with something to keep him in the game, but he just wasn't able to do the damage that he needed to. That he wasn't able to set the pace of that game.
Yeah, it was really, really tough. You know, that scout was amazing for the Hellion, catching everything in that corner.
Yeah, that was I don't know if that was just a bit of luck or what, but he didn't scout everything. He just sent that Hellion there. There's a lot of other locations you could choose as a Protoss for the proxy location. It looks like it must be common maybe for Rob to pick those extremes of the map though, because he sent a Reaper to one end and the Hellion to the other and scouted it straight away. So nice read either way from Vindicta. But yeah, that does mean that Rob is out of that series.
Yeah, and you know why that happened? That cute little SCV position. He scouted the whole main base, saw one gateway and one cyber core, nothing else in the main, and only one pylon there. And then he scouted in with the Reaper at the natural and saw one pylon there, nothing there. He had to know something was on the map somewhere. But then, yeah, like you said, getting a little bit lucky with the Hellion. You know, the first place he looked with the Hellion, boom, there it was. He did send the Reaper to the other side of the map too, but again, there's so many positions or little nooks and crannies to hide buildings. He was able to find the Dark Shrine and then take minimal damage. Rob did do very well with that Warp Prism, able to get some damage done even right underneath a Raven, which was cool, but sadly, you know, just didn't work out for our Protoss.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why Rob proxied all of the buildings down there, to be honest. You could just put your DT shrine there, like you don't have to put everything there, but it's a bold strategy, and like I said, he's a Chad Protoss. He knows a lot more than I do, so I'm just gonna enjoy the raw power that Rob put on display there, even if it didn't work out in that series.
All right, we are getting invited to the next series. However, I'm waiting to see. Oh wait, hold on. Just getting some DMs here. I'm trying to get a hold of Macintac as he has not responded to any of my DMs this morning. I didn't think to turn off the replay bot here either. Let's see, how can we do this? I don't know how to turn off the replay bot. Do you?
Turn auto mod off?
No, just turn off the replay bot.
Is it Nightbot?
No, it's
No.
the SC2 stats replay.
Yeah, no, I don't have that, so I have no idea.
All right, well, I'm just gonna leave that for now. If people want to take the replays, that's fine. I don't really care.
If you just close SC2 replay stats, that would probably do it, right?
Oh, you know what? You're probably right.
Your
Let's just do
uploader,
that.
yeah, because it's got to get on there somehow.
There we go. So that probably will do it. Okay, I'm just trying to wait and hear from our boy McIntack. I really don't want to have another disqualification. I really don't want that. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to try my best to talk to people and get a hold of McIntack. When we return, hopefully have our next series, McIntack versus Epic. All right, we'll see you guys after a short break.
Welcome back to StarCraft Trivia with Necro. The category is casters. So we've all had really dumb, embarrassing names that we made up back when we were young. Some people changed it completely, you know, some have the balls to keep it, but StarCraft Caster Pig went halfway on that. What was the first version of Jared Pig Krenzel's username back in his early years at internet cafes? Was it A, Bacon for Pig, B, Fat Pig Sucker, C, Smelly Pig Shit, or D, Your Mum is a Pig? The answer is B, Fat Pig Sucker.
I remember after a few rounds, my friends were like, "Hey man, how are you doing? Like, what's your name?" And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh, you need to have an ID. You gotta have an alias, man. You gotta make an in-game name so we know who you are." You know, everyone there is referring to each other by their in-game names, like shouting across to each other. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I chose the best name ever, Fat Pig Sucker. That's right, guys, Fat Pig Sucker. Probably the most embarrassing couple of years of my childhood. I was known as Fat Pig Sucker at this internet cafe. I remember I would proudly proclaim, people would be like, "Fat Pig Sucker, what kind of a stupid name is that?" And I'd be like, "Well, am I a fat pig that sucks? Or do I suck fat pigs?" What the
So StarCraft caster, streamer, and personality Nathanius represented the United States of America at the Nation Wars 4. But what American state is Nathan Nathanius Fabricant originally from? Is it A, Kansas, B, Nevada, C, Pennsylvania, or D, Texas? The answer is C, Pennsylvania. Yes, Nathanius is from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yes, just like in The Office. And final question of the segment. These 4 Terran casters played in the very first Casters Invitational. However, it was rough. Only one of them made it out of their round of 16 group. Which one of these Terran casters made it out of their round of 16 group at the Casters Invitational of 2017? Was it A, Maynard, B, Rifkin, C, Wardy, or D, Zombie Grub? The answer is D, Zombie Grub, defeating both Funka and Emil 2-0. If you follow these streamers, you may know that Zombie Grub has the highest ranked of these 4, generally being around Masters 2/Masters 1 with her Terran.
Still land the Vikings, or he could have still landed the Vikings, try to get a couple of these tanks, because there's no support for them at all. Now there's about
oh, the
20.
PDD! That was so sick in the natural. Zombie Grub going for the drop, trying to prevent some of the shots here from the turrets. Marines are gonna kill a lot of SCVs In the meantime here, Zombie Grub is gonna push her forward on the other side. She gets rid of the tanks of Funka that were naked and by themselves here. The Vikings still flying over this area, doing absolutely nothing here for Funka.
Yeah, and now Zombie Grub is in a great position to start sieging up this third base, gets down the fourth command center as well. So no fourth base for Funka anytime soon, but he has bigger worries right now. His third base is under fire by those tanks. Only one tank siege up, the other three are not sieged at all, so Funka might be able to just clean this up. No, he won't actually. Zombie Grub with 3 tanks and 4 marines survives the final push, and GG being called. Funka loses game number 2 as well, which means Zombie Grub will advance to the playoffs in 2nd place.
I have not heard anything yet from McIntyre. I really do not want to have another disqualification. This is frustrating.
Can we go ahead and play the other series first?
There's no other series unless we play out the next one. Because we would need a winner's match and then a loser's match.
Right.
So
we would have to DQ him and then play out the winner's match.
Yeah, this is unfortunate, guys. I'm not quite sure what to do here other than DQ McIntyre, which really sucks because that means we lose out on 2 series again today. But I am trying to wait and get a hold of hear back from somebody that I messaged on Discord that might have his contact info, but we'll see. Alright guys, I don't think we're gonna get a hold of McIntyre, so we are likely to just have to move on without him. I'm gonna need a quick 5 again to just kind of clear my head a little bit. So we're gonna do another quick break, and when we return it looks like we're going to have to play Epic versus Vindicta in the winners match. But yeah, I'm gonna need another 5 minutes. I'm sorry guys, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to StarCraft Trivia with Necro. The category is units. Have you ever heard of the term spin to win? Well, I know Disruptors wins you games, and it's probably because they never stop spinning. So how many full rotations on itself does a Disruptor achieve in 1 minute? Is it A, 42.0, blaze it, B, 60, C, 69, nice, or D, 100? The answer is 42.0, or just 42. I mean, I guess 42.0. I don't know. I was kind of high when I made up this question. Unless you're a boomer, you know that these zoomers are quite the coomers. Which of these has the highest movement speed? Is it A, an interceptor, B, a medevac while boosting, C, a zealot while charging, or D, a zergling with metabolic boost on creep? So the answer is A, the Interceptor. So boosting a medevac has 5.94 movement speed, a zergling has 8.54 movement speed with metabolic boost while on creep, a zealot while charging has 10.4 movement speed, and an interceptor has 10.5 movement speed. It's kinda hard to tell when they're attacking, but when they retreat to the carriers, that's when you can see the zooms. A Zerg drone has seen all his drone friends with 40 HP dying in 2 shots from an Oracle. He promised himself that no matter what happens, he will never die to an Oracle, and turning into a Spore Crawler was never what he wanted to do in life. One day, the drone comes face to face with a full energy Oracle. How much health would a drone need to have to survive a full energy Oracle that hits him with pulsar beam until it has 0 energy left? Is it A, 1,854 health, B, 2,119 health, C, 2,708 health, or D, 3,026 health? The answer is D, 3,026 health. Now I'm not going to show you the whole equation here, but I can let you know on pretty much every single factor that's present. So the base health regeneration of any Zerg unit, except Burrowed Roaches and Mutas, is at a rate of 0.27 per second. To activate Pulsar Beam, it requires 25 energy, so really you are starting at 175 energy instead of 200. Then Pulsar Beam drains 2 mana per second roughly, and the damage is normally 15, but since a drone is a light unit, it does 22 damage per attack, and it attacks 0.61 times per second.
No way this is. Oh my! Oh my! Oh my God! Oh my fucking God!
Alright guys, we are back again. We finally have gotten a hold of McAttack. There was a mix-up with the time on his end, so we will not have another walkover today. We got it all figured out, so really happy to have that ready and good to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say the chances of 2 people having a real life thing happen 2 days in a row has to be pretty small, right? Must have been some other explanation.
Yeah, so luckily that's not the case. It looks like they are getting through the ban process now, and we will be getting ready to go. So TVZ, that is exciting. That is exciting. We haven't had a TVZ yet.
Sorry, Mike. I just had a really loud truck outside. I had to mute my mic and close my window. Should be okay now.
Not a problem,
I'm,
sir.
Excited for some TVZ. Yeah, this is the classic matchup, the Starship Troopers matchup, the best matchup in the whole game, and this is coming from a Protoss player. I cannot wait for it.
Yes, I also really like TVZ. I have no idea how either of these players play the matchup at the moment, so I actually haven't watched Epic other than very few times at LAN events, so it'll be really cool to see what both these guys bring to the table in this matchup, how McIntack likes to play it. I think he recently has been playing as like I think he's been advertising his stream as a honorable macro Zerg, so we'll have to see if he lives up to that.
Yeah, they're a rare breed these days, but I mean there are lots of different ways to win as a Zerg, and just picking one of them and sticking to it is very honorable.
That's right, and we are going to be playing the first game on Death Aura. This is actually becoming one of my favorite maps in this pool. I really like the speed zones in the middle, and I think it's very interesting setup for both sides, where the third base locations are, how you can kind of wall off and set up surrounds as Zerg. There's some really cool potential on this map, and we saw that yesterday with the Disc and Starkiller game.
And yeah, that game was absolutely amazing, and hopefully we'll get something at least half as good as that, and if we do, it'll be an absolute banger.
I am so excited. So excited. If we get anything like that Disc Starkiller game from any of the other players, that would be unbelievable, because that was just such a wild ride.
Just had a quick look at Epic's MMR. He's sitting at like nearly 6,300 MMR in Grandmaster, so he's obviously very, like you said, a ladder hero. Very strong player.
All right, guys, here we go. It's time. We have in the bottom right-hand corner of Death Aura, representing Psystorm in the blue trunks, it is Epic.
His opponent, playing for Team Root, he is the honorable macro Zerg. He is McIntack.
Oh, really excited for this one. I just love TVZ. It's such a fun matchup to watch and comment on, and it's probably the most exciting matchups in the game. Is, like you said, it's the classic Starship Troopers matchup. You got the bugs that are just trying to overwhelm all the humans, and you know, this could be the Wings of Liberty nostalgia kicking in here, but I just love this matchup.
I just gotta say, Mike, I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all.
Kill them all.
gotta get the bugs. Oh yeah, what a great matchup. I mean, that's assuming that Zerg doesn't just make roaches and kill the Terran in the first 5 minutes. But yeah, normally when it stabilizes and it becomes a big... I mean, this map, to be honest, looking at it, it doesn't have that many bases for you to take. So like the potential for like a super late game between these two players, I think is pretty minimal. I think we're going to see a really, really aggressive and multi-pronged mid game here, which is, you know, really what you want to see. This is a great map for this kind of matchup.
You're right. There's a lot of dead space, and once you get kind of your four bases secured on each side of the map, I find it looks like it would be very difficult to get a fifth base. I don't know what the Zerg would like to do for their 4 and 5 bases. It kind of looks like you want to, you know, expand horizontally, but then your third base is kind of trapped by this choke that the Terran could siege outside of the third. But there's multiple ramps for surround, so it's interesting to see how both players can kind of, like, which expand path are they going to take. As Terran, I like to take, you know, the triangle third's good, but I actually like the horizontal third for Terran too, just because you can wall off it's a very quick and easy wall off there, and it's very close to your natural base. So I'm interested to see kind of what path these guys expand in and how they're going to attack each other.
And obviously that makes it kind of easy to secure your 3 bases, but then going into that later stage, so I would love to see, and that kind of honestly can be a lot of fun, just both players 3 bases each, maybe 4 bases for the Zerg, and just slinging mud at each other for 10-20 minutes straight. It's exactly the kind of StarCraft game I want to watch. No disruptors in this game, unfortunately, but I think we'll have some pretty their fair share of shenanigans from Epic as well.
And I am a-okay with no disruptors, because, you know, I have experienced enough of those units to not want to see them ever again, but it is still fun to watch someone else eat the bad disruptor shots, you know, experience a little bit of a post-traumatic stress, have some more flashbacks from the 60s pop into my head, and but
Yeah, I think next time you're watching my stream, if I'm gonna make disruptors, I'll put a trigger warning up to make sure that you don't have to have anything triggered when you don't want it to.
oh, that'd be perfect. You know, just like have like a big black screen as soon as the disruptor nova gets shot out. That way I don't see the units dying, and I don't, you know, it doesn't trigger those flashbacks for me. Reaper
Yeah,
getting a lot of scouting done.
yeah, I love the Reaper control here. Not committing too much. I love seeing the just sort of conservative Reaper control from a lot of top Terrans. They know that they don't have to go and do damage. They don't have to go in and get a drone. Like, it doesn't matter. You just keep it alive. You keep seeing what's going on. He scouts where the queens are. He sees the queen count. He's, you know, at least threatening to deny the creep if it goes forward without the queens there. And overall, just nice and patient play from Epic.
Yeah, it's awesome to see that. And what I want to see too is how aggressive he's going to be against these creep tumors. I've noticed on some Terran streamers scanning a lot more for creep tumors with their initial Hellions. Just try, not the first two, but once you get up to that, like, you know, 4 to 6 number, you know, it's cool to see that they have the light tag now, and seeing Terrans actually using their scans to try and deny creep tumors as much as possible, because now with that light tag, the Hellions just kill it so much faster. I was watching, I think it was Big Gabe doing it actually, and he killed one scan, he'd kill like 8 tumors with just his first initial Hellion. So
especially if you have the Hellions in a good position. Like, I don't know, is he going to commit here? It looks like he's going up the ramp with these Hellions. They do get fully surrounded by these Zerglings, but with a little bit of kiting, the Hellions are still alive, but so many of them go down to those queens. This is looking pretty dangerous, but he does get out with 3 and the Reaper. That could have been a lot worse.
yeah, that was looking very scary, but the queens weren't quite on the Hellions right when the Lings got the surround on them, so he does escape with 3 Hellions and the Reaper still, so he can still utilize the grenade. We have a Spire coming up from Macintac, which I think is the right call on this map. Lots of dead space to work with, and the bases are far enough apart where I think he can bounce around with the Mutalisk and keep the Terran kind of back at home. We have a couple of Banshees coming across the map, but the Spore Crawlers should be up and ready to go in time. Shouldn't see a ton of damage from these Banshees, but we'll see what Epic can make happen.
And with that nice Overlord positioning over at the third base, he is going to spot the entry angle of these Banshees, but they're coming in just before the Spore Crawler finishes. Do get 1 drone in nearly a second there. Nice conservative play there from Epic, making sure not to take any damage from that Spore. They're going to pop into the natural here, get a few more drones. Nice control so far. Takes a little bit of damage on one, almost the third one going down, or the second one, or almost one going down, but with that control and that reduced queen range, he is going to keep them both alive.
The queen range nerf strikes again. We saw it a couple of times with Protoss versus Zergs yesterday, and now a couple of Banshees eluding those queens. One of them getting away with very little HP. It's you're seeing the immediate effect of those changes.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. Both queens attacking one less time is enough to have that Banshee. I mean, obviously players are still going to commit just a little bit longer now because they'll take less damage in general, but with that really nice control from Epic, he goes right to the limit with that Banshee, gets as many drones as he possibly can, and now he's saved both of them and he's ready to add them to his push.
Yeah, and he's going to push out pretty quickly here. It looks like he's going to go for a 1-1 push with combat shields. Both Banshees getting away. They'll probably be repaired at home and either go for another bit of harassing or maybe join in with this 1-1 push. We don't really see a lot of Banelings yet. Baneling speed is on the way. 6 Mutalisks also on the way, so they should be able to get the Banshees if they try to harass out on their own. And the creep tumors were kind of getting cleaned up pretty quickly on the bottom side, but there's still quite a bit of creep towards the top side. He's going to scan and take out a lot of the fresh tumors, even going to get some of the, you know, really deep tumors there. He's getting almost to the third base there.
Yeah, I really like this from Epic. Nice patient play, showing Terrans how to push properly, just making sure you go in with your units other than your tanks, clean out that creep, and then retreat back to the safety. And he knows he's already forced out units. He knows he's got some creep there. He doesn't need to commit to anything just yet. And I think once he realizes there's mutas coming out, he's going to want to start to stabilize against that anti-air.
Yeah, I don't know if the mutas have really revealed themselves yet. So far they've just been kind of chilling back on the Zerg side of the map by the creep, I guess keeping the Terran off of his lawn, so to speak. And they look at that, even the speed zones affecting air units. I didn't know that, and those mutas go really fast through those, and they're going to try and bounce around and do some damage. With the Terran having the triangle 30, he's going to be able to bounce to and from the main and third base, but there's already a missile turret in production, or already finished, and good pull from the SCVs, able to not lose any to those Mutalisks. And now they're just kind of, oh, they're gonna get caught by some Marines to the north side. Banshees on the other side of the map doing some damage to Queens and drones in the mineral line, and Macintac kind of spread a little thin here and has to be very careful, otherwise this could snowball for the Terran.
Yeah, that multiple control groups from Epic, just moving his small group of Marines out on the map to catch those Mutalisks, just kind of like thinking about it almost like chess pieces, moving them around the map, trying to checkmate those Mutalisks in a bad position, and he gets quite a few of them for his trouble, so love to see that kind of play paying off.
Yeah, we look at the losses actually. ZERG has lost quite a bit already in resources, losing 1,700 worth of resources, lots of lings and drones going down. 15 drones have already been slain in this match, and more drone losses to those Banshees.
Yeah, and those engineering bays are in a vulnerable position, but with the stim from those Marines, he is going to chase them away. Looks like the Mutas are going to make this their point of entry now. There's no missile turrets to speak of. This is going to keep this army back. He does not want to lose these engineering bays. A few more volleys from these Mutas, but with the pull and the entire army coming back, he is going to save it. But this is really, really forcing Epic into staying into his base for now.
That's right. I'm learning a lot about how to defend against Mutas right now. Epic is getting all over the map on his side, having packs of Marines to defend against the Mutas at first, and now just kind of, you know, repairing all of his buildings like the engineering base before losing an upgrade, while also pulling the army and harassing with Banshees. Just lots of multi-prong action here from Epic, and Macintac doing his best to try and keep the Terran back at home, but now the push is coming across. 2-2 is just about completed. This is the scary attack right here, but there are a lot of banelings just finishing up for Macintac. He's going to have to get into a position where maybe he can get a surround. There are a lot of Widow Mines here. This is going to be a very tough defense from Macintac. He is going for a quick run by though. He's going to get lings over to the planetary base that's morphing. The planetary is not done yet, so these SCVs are going to go down. At the same time, there's a Marine drop at the fourth base of Macintac, and the push is finally happening, and here we go, connections of banelings onto a lot of the bio, and actually the bio all getting cleaned up except for just the medevacs are retreating now, and a little bit of friendly fire damage, but a big Widow Mine hit at the end. But these Mutalisks are going to be able to clean up a lot of the medevacs.
Left side though, at the close by air third of Macintac is doing a lot of damage. Did clean up a lot of units there. 2 Queens went down and a number of drones, but it is going to get cleaned up as well. But I can't help but feel that actually looked like a pretty good trade for Epic with those Widow Mines going off, so many banelings going down.
Yeah, that last hit was huge. It looked to be going very heavily into Macintac's favor there, with catching him on creep and not as split up as he would have liked to be. But then that last Widow Mine took out about 10 to 15 banelings, it looked like.
Epic stabilized on 4 bases now. Yes, that run by did a lot of damage, but Epic still has 72 workers in this game. He's managed to whittle Macintac down to 54, and with his 3-3 upgrades on the way, I think this next push from Macintac is going to be very scary.
Yeah, Epic now starting 3-3. 2-2 is just on the way for Mac. He is going to have +2 attack with his Zerglings, which will be strong, but you know, only having 1 armor, that's going to be pretty rough, and he's stuck on this Mutalisks tech for now. Infestation Pit not quite done, and I don't think it's going to finish in time. Another double medevac drop happening at the third base while Macintac is on the south side of the map. He's going to send all of his units to clean that up while Epic clears creep to the south side and pushing towards the fourth base. This is going to be very difficult for Mac to defend here. He's going to have to pull everything from the third base after clearing it up, and loses 6 drones there in the process. At the same time, you know, Epic is moving up his Widow Mine. He's getting the position he wants to fight and siege up this fourth base location.
This is just textbook Terran play. Using that double drop, yes, he did lose it because there was a complete F2 from Macintac, but this has allowed him to get a really nice position on the ramp of this fourth base, and now there's so much pressure coming down here. As soon as these 3-3 upgrades finish, this is going to be so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, he might even get the hatchery before 3-3. The banelings are going to crash forward towards this Thor, but there's already Widow Mines in production. The Thor are actually staying there. Widow Mines burrowed forward on this ramp, and more banelings coming in. All right, Mac is just going to go for it. Doesn't get the Thor. Everything going forward. A lot of the bio going down. There's only a little bit of anti-air left. Just a handful of Marines left over, but I think Epic has done it with the reinforcements now crossing the map. Look at that Thor going through the speed zone to help reinforce this push.
Speedy boy, and once these reinforcements catch up, there's only Zerglings left, all the power units left. It's a GG and a victory for Epic, 1-0.
What an awesome game from Epic. I'm gonna have to save that one for later. Just textbook
Yeah,
Muta defense.
That's a disgustingly nice game. Oh my god. Like the maneuverability of that Terran army being abused, pulling the army out of position. I love when it seems like a Terran player can move the Zerg's units for him. He's like, you know what, dude, you don't really know where to move your units. Let me move them for you. They're all gonna go into your natural while I siege up your third, and he basically just moved him wherever he wanted him to go.
That is right. That was very, very cool to see him splitting up the Zerg like that, having units pull everything aside and then setting up that siege position outside the fort. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for McIntyre, I think it would have been nice if he had multiple control groups, if he had a kind of dedicated anti-drop control group, but it's hard to know how much is going to be committed to that drop. So just giving up that position on his third base, or his fourth base rather, is just so devastating, because once those Widow Mines are burrowed and the tanks are sieging up the third, it's like there's no way you're going to save that base.
Yeah, and even after the patch, he was getting drilling claws and Widow Mines very quickly. So maybe a little bit of metagaming from Epic, or I don't know if he actually scanned the Mutalisk Spire, but he was able to get the good readout and put out a lot of Widow Mines with his bio early, which was very, very effective in that playing against that Mutiling Bane style.
It's so difficult to deal with, especially if you don't have a read on it early on. You end up losing a whole bunch of units to those Widow Mines before you even realize it.
All right, game number 2 is going to be on Everdream LE. Both players are ready, and we are jumping in right away.
And I actually am more excited than I was to begin with. Just really seeing the power of Epic there, showing us some amazing multitasking. Can't wait to see what he does in game 2.
And this is an awesome map for tank pushes. So here we go. In the top right-hand corner of Everdream LE, it is the blue Terran from Psystorm Gaming, Epic.
And his opponent is down 0-2, down 1 game. The Zerg player from McIntyre, he is McIntyre.
Oh.
He's not from McIntyre. I don't know if that's a place or not, but he is McIntyre.
He is also known as Mac Daddy, as his friends
Big Mac.
and Twitch viewers call him. So what does Mac Daddy need to do this game to win, do you think? What does Mac Attack got to do?
I would love to see him do some kind of cheesy opening, some kind of roach pressure to throw Epic off his game. I think if you allow Epic to get into his standard mid game, he kind of just showed that he's got a better one. So I think McIntyre needs to do something creative here.
I would love to see something creative, but I think he's gonna live up to that honorable macro Zerg style that he's known for. He likes to play for that mid game, get into the late game as well. I think he got stuck on Muta Tech a little bit longer than he wanted to. Yeah, like you, I think I want to see him try maybe something a little bit more aggressive, maybe try to get even a quicker hive out, or try to go to that hive tech, go to that late game. But to do that, he's got to defend against probably a big 2-2 push, because that's what's most popular right now with bio players. And Epic just executed a very, very strong 2-2 timing push last game.
It's, obviously, Epic probably has other styles available to him as well. As someone of his caliber, he's got lots of different strategies, but I think that was a very, very convincing win for me, so I wouldn't expect him to do much different here.
Yeah, it is just the best of 3, so you're not going to probably see too many switch ups in play style. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. And look at this, the drone making sure it skirts away from the Reaper. This is a cute play. I like that. He makes sure that the drone isn't going to get caught by this Reaper.
Yeah, you notice really high level players, Zerg players doing stuff like that. People like Cero, people like Red Dane, they like to hide that drone, make sure that it gets the base down on time without really taking too much damage. So really nice play there from McIntyre.
Can you tell me more about this Red Dane guy? He sounds like a really good Zerg player.
He's an up-and-coming player. He's really good at copying little mechanical things that pros do to try and make it look like he knows what he's doing, but sometimes he just forgets to make an entire round of drones, and so he actually has no idea how to play a macro game, which can be a downside. But obviously, if you can hold down the roach key, obviously you can get your way back into almost any game.
Build the roach, as they say. But looks like Mac instead is not going to build the roach. He's going to get Zergling speed. He's got his third base down. Reaper gonna confirm that, do a little bit of damage to it. I always wish that the Reaper did a little bit more damage to a building hatchery. You know, back in the day when they had those cool building grenades that they would throw off at buildings. I used to love seeing those used. Now it just tickles the hatchery as it's being built. And a couple of Hellions joining the Reaper. Gonna chase down the scouting Zergling, and we'll see if he can actually scout a third base being placed down or any changes. Ooh, look at that. We've got armory production and widow mines. We're gonna see some quick widow mine drops, I think.
Yeah, and this is great. This is nice to see Epic adjusting to use the new patch to change his build up, right? Because he doesn't need to go for drilling claws. He's going to be able to create a lot of widow mines early on with that reactor factory, and that's going to mean that this is going to be a scary timing. And if Zerg doesn't make a lot of detection, this could be actually just a game-ending move.
Yeah, we don't have any overseers out yet. I don't even think we have a layer in production yet. So he's going to be relying on adding spore crawlers. But, you know, if you're not facing banshees or you haven't scouted with your first overlord, you don't want to be getting those spore crawlers too quickly. And he is getting overlord speed, so this is going to be pretty blind. He's not going to see the armory in time. He's got 3 spore crawlers in production now, just because this is around the time when the Terran's going to be moving out with either Hellion Banshee or Hellion Liberator, and he's getting some good creep spread going. But you know, very fast drilling or very fast cloaked widow mines can be scary, and at the same time he's got a Hellbat push coming across. Oh man.
Up really nicely having the armory for those Hellbats, but looks like the queens in the main are going to clean this up. There were spore crawlers in time for those widow mines, so it's going to be cleaned up without really too many issues. Love the positioning of that spore crawler, and this was looking like a really convincing defense for Macintac.
Yeah, he has lost 8 drones, so he must have got a few with the widow mine drop that we missed, but still, this harassment is not over. The Hellions are still on the map. It looks like there's a Liberator heading to the main base. It is going to set up, but get shot down by Queens right away. No, Queens running away, and the Spore Crawler is going to shoot it away, force it to reposition somewhere else. There is a lot of dead space, though, so that Liberator is going to live to see another day.
It's about the timing of that layer, and pretty soon he'll be scouting the 4th base of Macintac, so there's not going to be really any major surprises for Epic to deal with at this stage. He's just trying to find ways to put on this pressure, but unlike the last game, he hasn't really been able to put on a whole lot. Really, if you look at the resources lost, it's very, very close right now. Very little has actually been lost for Macintac, and I think this is kind of the start that he wanted here.
Yeah, and he's getting his Baneling Nest a little bit quicker. He's getting his double Evos a little bit quicker as well. So he's going to be able to get lots of upgrades for his ground forces. Hasn't decided on his next tech path yet, whether it'll be Mutalisk or Hydralisk. And I think we've got more drones going down in the main base. Yeah, look at that. The Spore Crawler is going to pick off the Liberator finally, but 4 drones go down and a couple of eggs going down too. That makes a big difference when you're picking off eggs and larvae.
And although Epic did, during that, he did lose his Hellions, which gives up his map control for the time being. I think he really wanted to force the issue with that damage, and he needed to lower that drone count. And he's on equal workers now to Macintac, so overall, after the opener, I mean, I don't love it for Epic as much as maybe last game, but it's looking like he's going to be able to pretty comfortably enter the mid game here.
Yeah, and he's going to be going for that 1-1 push, just kind of like last game. He did it last game just as a way to clear off creep, but ooh, nice surround on the siege tank. These Lings picking off a lot of reinforcing units and kind of forcing Epic to go back.
I love that map awareness from Macintac, just being aware that, oh, there's a push coming out right now. I might as well use the units I have to pick off some units for free. He's not really ready for the push, but this has completely reset this timing for Epic. He's gone all the way back to his third. He's going to siege up this tank. He knows that he's not ready for this attack. He's lost too much en route there, and this is going to just make it a little bit easier for Macintac to defend when the push does get there.
Yeah, every siege tank you can pick off this early is a big deal, and now, you know, he's getting some creep tumors killed. He would have liked to probably push that 4th base instead earlier, and now we have that earlier infestation pit, so it's going to be infestor tech, maybe a very quick hive, And that's kind of what we wanted to see earlier. We wanted to see if McIntyre can get to the late game and get to something other than getting stuck on the Mutiling Bane.
Yeah, and I do love this little drop from Epic, just going around killing creep and killing overlords. It wasn't really a push per se. It's just a double drop of Marines, only committing things that he can put back in the medevac. Doesn't lose anything, and he's just getting free damage here and there, which I really, really like.
Yeah, he's not committing too hard with these medevacs. They do take a little bit of damage from the queens, but he's able to pick off some creep tumors here and there. But McIntyre is overall doing a great job of deflecting the medevacs and making sure not a lot of damage is being taken on his side of the map. There is this little push. Oh, that was a lot of banelings for one Widow Mine. Oh, that is not what you want to see there.
Yeah, that must have been a manual detonation. I didn't think those would be going off the way they did, but definitely a good trade for Epic. It's going to lead him to a little bit of a snowballing position here as the red drop joins up with that push. It's really just the drop left over here, but quite a few Zerglings going down en route. There's no banelings just yet. A couple of Widow Mines join. Now the Queens are trying to focus these medevacs down, but the damage of these Marines is just mowing these Queens down. And with the reinforcements, it's just going to be overwhelming power.
Yeah, really strong push coming from Epic. GG.
That game those games just made Epic look like an actual god against McIntyre. I mean, McIntyre did some nice moves there, but Epic is clearly a very, very strong player.
Yeah, the power of TERRAN. The TERRAN patch, you guys. Both TERRANs advancing to the winners match, which we'll be playing next. We'll have a TVT between Epic and... Wow, why am I drawing a blank? TVT between Epic and Vindicta. Coming up next, we're going to play another trivia. So it'll be a quick break. See you soon.
Welcome back to StarCraft Trivia with Necro. The category is units. Sometimes we do refer to the Corruptor ability as pissing on buildings, but who knew pissing could do so much damage? How much total damage can one Corruptor inflict with a single cast of Caustic Spray? Without, of course, being interrupted. Is it A, 800 damage, B, 1500 damage, C, 3000 damage, or D, The answer is D, infinity. The Caustic Spray ability actually keeps going until it gets interrupted. So if the Corruptor is issued another command, if the building dies, or if the Corruptor dies. So technically, you could put one Corruptor per building and it will kill it. Eventually. It does 7 damage per second at the beginning for 4.3 seconds, and then it increases over time to a maximum of 35 damage per second. They say slow and steady wins the race, and I guess that's true because the Corruptor does not win any 1v1 against buildings that actually fight back. So generally, it's pretty important to know unit types and attributes in StarCraft. It allows you to know what unit does extra damage versus what. Like, did you know that Ghosts deal a lot of damage against Banshees because Banshees are light units? Well, which of these units has the most unit type / attributes? So like armored, biological, psionic, etc. Is it A, the Broodlord, B, a Mothership, C, an SCV, or D, a Sentry? So the answer is B, the Mothership. So all the other units have 3 types. Broodlord is massive, armored, and biological. The SCV is light, mechanical, and biological, so it can be healed by a medevac and repaired at the same time. And the Sentry is light, mechanical, and psionic. So the Mothership is the only unit with 5 unit types. So it's armored, mechanical, psionic, massive, and heroic. And it's the only unit to have the heroic type. But what does heroic do? Well, all it means is that it can't be mind controlled by infestors. That's pretty much it. And last question of the segment. So just like in real life, generally it's cheaper to repair than it is to buy a whole brand new thing. But what if something is really damaged, like really damaged, like a Thor that's down to 1 HP? How many resources does it cost to repair a Thor from 1 HP to full HP? Is it A, 75 minerals and 50 gas, B, 150 minerals and 100 gas, C, 300 minerals and 200 gas, or D, 400 minerals? So the answer is A, 75 minerals and 50 gas. So the full repair of a unit is 25% of its resource cost. So since a Thor is 300 minerals and 200 gas, it would cost 75 minerals and 50 gas for a full repair. So the amount of full health or the time that it takes to repair doesn't actually impact the total price. But the time that it takes to repair the unit is the same amount of time that it takes to build it. So since a Thor takes 43 seconds to build, it would take one SCV 43 seconds to fully repair it. So if a unit costs 1,000 minerals, 1,000 gas, has 10,000 health, and a build time of 1 second, then the SCV would repair 10,000 health in 1 second, and it would cost 250 minerals and 250 gas. Huh.
All right, guys, we're just about ready for the winner's match. How are you feeling, Dan?
I'm feeling great, Mike. I'm excited to see some TVT and really just bask in your wisdom here, because this is mysterious and strange land for me.
Oh, baby. I'm ready for some TVT. I am very ready for some TVT. It's been one of my favorite matchups as of late, just because you're seeing a lot of different styles come from the Korean scene. I don't know if you've kept up with GSL last season, but we had, even though it was a very one-sided finals with TY versus Cure, they showed some really cool builds. There was one game where one player opened up Speed Banshee versus the other player going double battle cruiser or 3 battle cruisers before taking a third base. It was just wild.
I'm glad to see that the Platinum League isn't the only place we're seeing a bunch of battle cruisers in TVT. That's gonna legitimize it for everybody. Yeah, obviously this is a great matchup to watch as well. Not my favorite in terms of comparing it to TVZ or PVZ, but there's still a lot of drops that can go on. There's still a lot, like you said, a lot of variety in the openers, and I think it's pretty common to see the better player win, which I think is what everybody really wants in StarCraft, is to have the skill of the players on display as much as possible. And this has been compared to a chess game, so love to see that tank positioning, love to see that maneuvering out on the map, and all the different the way you have to micro your army is very, very intense in this matchup as well. So very excited.
All right, I think both players are ready to go. And our first map is going to be my favorite map in the pool this season and last season. It's the most banned. It's the most banned map in the pool. Golden Wall.
Also one of the most fun to watch. So I personally veto this, but I would never veto this as a caster. I want to see it. I want to see the games. I want to make these players miserable. I want to see them come out with shining colors.
I just love all the options you have on this map. There are so many different ways you can push. There's so many different ways you can expand. There are so many different cheeses you can do with the little mineral patches behind your main and behind your opponent's main. There's just so much variety, and variety is the spice of life. All right, I don't care what anyone else says. So in the left hand side of Golden Wall, it is our winner of our last match, Psystorm's Epic.
The bottom right hand corner of Golden Wall, his opponent is the blue Terran, Vindicta.
Oh baby, This,
I want to see some shenanigans, Mike. Are we going to see any?
are we going to see any? Maybe. With this map being what it is, I would have loved to see one of these players immediately start mining out the back of his base to put maybe a factory or a starport on the other side of the bottom half of the map, but we won't be seeing that yet. Both players going for gas racks, and we'll probably see a second gas from both players, just playing very safe. It's very standard for every Terran pretty much to be opening up double gas against their opponents, just in case of any sort of Reaper play or proxy, any sort of proxy shenanigans. It's very normal, but actually Epic going for just single gas, so we might see him just Reaper expand with the gas first. Also a very, safe option, especially on this map.
Yeah, and I think Reapers on this map, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but Reapers are not as great on this map because there's not really an extra base entrance for the Reapers to get in, so it would be a surprising build to be sure, but I think it's going to be pretty safe here for Epic to be expanding off of a Reaper without really worrying about a 3 racks Reaper all in. Just it's unlikely is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. There's not really a lot of jump paths on this. Not to say that it never happens, because, I've actually lost a proxy Reaper on this map, and I kicked myself after it pretty hard because, just like you said, there's not a lot of places for the Reapers to come up. So I think what's scary, though, is the kind of, not the proxy Reaper on this map, but the double gas pushes that can come from Terran in this matchup. So I know there's a lot of popular Reaper Hellion pushes with either a Liberator or a Medevac, which are pretty good. We'll have to see if that's what Vindicta wants to try and do. There's also the potential for Banshees to do a little bit of damage. There are some nice dead space areas for those to fly off into, and you never know if Epic plays a little greedy, skips his, he might skip a Cyclone.
He does manage to catch out Epic's SCV in the middle of the map, and he's moving his Reaper to attack this Reaper expand here. If he managed to get a few good hits on this Reaper, this could be really bad actually for Vindicta, but nice micro so far. But the Reaper from Epic is very low. He needs to keep this alive. Ooh. But actually he gets the better of it. Really nice defense there from Epic.
What a second Reaper grenade. That was awesome. He actually got he bounced the Reaper in the air and the SCV attacked it while it was bounced up. That was so awesome to see. So the Reaper goes down for Vindicta, and he sees everything that his opponent is doing. He's getting his add-ons, his reactor, and his tech lab on his factory and barracks. On Epic's side of the map, he's just got his reactor, getting out some Marines, and now adding a couple of Hellions as well. It's a good little defense to have the Hellions just in case you're facing lots of Reaper and Hellion early. We won't see that, but it's interesting to see what these players are going to do. We have a Cyclone already coming out for Vindicta, and maybe he'll try and be aggressive with that. Maybe he'll just keep that to defend against any sort of counter harass.
Yeah, he does have a base coming up on his own, so it's not going to be the end of the world that he lost that Reaper and didn't get that damage. It's going to be a little bit later for him, but now he's actually got to deal with some pressure from Epic at his front because he's gone straight into the Cyclone Marine, but as soon as these Marines pop out, he should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, we have a Raven coming out from Epic now, and we'll probably see some Ravens coming out from Vindicta as his CC is just finishing up. And this is kind of the standard mid game now, where both players will probably go and get 2 to 3 Ravens and then transition to taking a third base and setting up either their barracks or their factory. So we have a scan going down from Epic to try and see if there's a tech choice chosen yet. He has not going to see any extra barracks or factories, so it's still 1-1-1 from both players, and he didn't see a third base either, so not a lot of information on that scan.
Nice little catch out though for Epic, but I think actually in the end Vindicta gets the better of that with a Reaper surviving that engagement. Despite blundering into the bushes there with some nice control, he manages to keep the Reaper alive, and it's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but it's a moral victory for Vindicta nonetheless.
Yeah, it's these nice little nice little battles are what can win you the game in TVT though. These little things snowball. If you lose a couple of Marines, now all of a sudden you are down that many Marines in what could be a Marine versus Marine fight. So the damage adds up exponentially in this matchup. If you lose 5 SCVs, that makes a huge difference. So that's not happening right now, but keeping that Reaper alive means that he's able to get a full scout off of Epic's base. So really nice there from Vindicta. Realizes that the utility of that Reaper is pretty much over now, so it keeps it alive and gets a nice scout. So nice movement there. Yeah, and Vindicta seeing everything he needs to feel safe about taking his third base. Both players actually setting up a third base now, so we're going to get into that that mid-game action, the TVT tank, Marine, Raven, Viking action that everyone loves to see.
With the 5 worker advantage for Epic, like you said, that's going to pay off over time to be quite a big deal. I mean, as soon as they both have 3 bases and everything, it's going to even out a little bit, but you can see just the difference in production here. The +1 is nearly finished for Epic, while Vindicta is only now dropping his engineering base. So it's definitely going to lead to some stronger push timings for Epic, but I think the longer this game goes on, the less of a big deal that will be.
Yeah, and just a little bit of a slight misstep here. A couple of SCVs getting trapped behind the engineering base, and now Raven's going to harass for Vindicta. He's gonna try and pick off Stim. It is just finishing though, so a little bit of a waste of these auto turrets now, and now he doesn't have that Raven energy for the counter push that's coming across the map. He is not aware of it. He is not aware of it quite yet, and there's no Raven left on these energies to help out. There is a 3rd Raven coming out, so he might be able to get 1 auto turret, maybe a disable off, but this is gonna be very scary. There's only 2 tanks and full energy Raven. If Epic can just get forward with that Raven, he is gonna go for it. You get disables both tanks. The 3rd tank is setting up, but now the tanks at the bottom are going to set up, and they're gonna be able to fire on the the forward tanks, but all the Marines going down for Epic, so this is gonna be a hold from Vindicta.
Really nice hold there from Vindicta. A little bit of patience there, waiting for those disables to go away and saving his Marines in the back. I was a little worried there because he didn't have Stim. I mean, as we said, he's behind in just about every way here because of the way the openers went. But nice big drop from Epic here, dropping right on top of the tank in the main base. This is going to be very, very scary here. Quite a few SCVs gone down already.
Yeah, the CC having to lift off, but it is going to get cleaned up. But this is going to cost Vindicta quite a bit of damage. He loses a bunch of SCVs, is forced to lift up his base. Doesn't lose anything at the front, but that's a big move from Epic. Really just sacrificing 4 Marines and a tank, a couple of medevacs, but that's a big move. And now a gold base being taken from Epic. This is gonna increase his economy just exponentially.
Love the way Epic plays this. He doesn't go for anything super duper risky. He just gets small little edges, and those edges are starting to add up. So that 5 worker lead is now an 8 worker lead. He's got a better upgrade advantage. He's taking his 3rd base a little bit faster. It's a gold base, so he's getting all these little advantages. They're snowballing, like you said, into a pretty strong and powerful mid game from him. I like that Vindicta is taking his sort of pocket 3rd base here by mining out these minerals. It's going to make it potentially a little bit safer for him, but I think what he needs to be doing right now is taking some risks. And as I say that, a 4th base is coming down for Epic, so he's going to be looking to completely snowball the economy in this particular game.
Yeah, taking that forward gold base makes a huge difference, and we talked about options early on this map, and that is a big deal. Taking that base, not being harassed, and now taking a very fast 4th base, he has all that extra mineral income. He's going to be able to afford more barracks, that faster 4th base, and Vindicta, while he has a decent economy set up, he's only behind 3 workers, he has much less mineral income. The income advantage is just very heavily in Epic's favor right now.
Yeah, the double engineering bay for Vindicta obviously is starting to pay off in terms of the upgrades. It's one area in which he can start to claw his way back in, but he's playing very conservatively overall, very defensively, and if these medevacs get caught out, oh my god, he gets both of them just completely destroyed, doesn't even get a chance, and that's going to be a really, really tough loss to deal with for Vindicta.
Yeah, now Vindicta is kind of on the back foot. That's a lot of units to lose, but and Epic's also going to lose some units to that siege tank, so he's going to... Oh, he's actually picking up all of his units. He was going to multi-prong, it looked like, but now all these tanks are on the other side of the golden wall. He's going to slow push the 3rd base, and there's only 1 tank and a handful of Marines here, so this is a very scary push from Epic. This could be it.
Able to just close the distance on these tanks. 2 of the tanks are on the high ground with the 3rd ready to join them, but quite a lot of the Marines have gone down for Epic, and he's down to 2 tanks now. The medevacs from Vindicta are going to drop right on top of these tanks and completely clean them up. This was not a great trade for Epic, but he's so far ahead in economy, he might be okay.
Yeah, the TSN turning point there were those Ravens getting key disables on 3 tanks, and basically all the Marines for Epic just stimming forward into Marines and tank fire and just losing almost everything before the disables ran out. So that was a huge win on that front from Vindicta, and now he's gonna be pushing himself across the lower half of the map. He's gonna scout the gold base. There is a drop getting set up from Epic on the north side, but Now all these SCVs are gonna have to get pulled off of this, and the income's gonna slowly get back into Vindicta's favor. Yeah, there's more bases for Epic in the north side, but he's not gonna be mining from his third base any longer. He's gonna have to transfer everything over to the fourth that he set up. And now Vindicta setting up on the other side of the golden wall and trying to drop into the main base and get on the production of Epic. He's got the Ravens there, so he's gonna keep this high ground.
Yeah, now the production's going to get completely stymied for Epic. This is going to be a lot of pressure for him to deal with. Epic with the drop at the third base, but it's going to get cleaned up. There's quite a lot of units there for Vindicta, so they're going to clean this up without too many issues. A few tanks in the main base of Epic do try and clean things up, but it's just going to be 2 pigs to the slaughter for this double drop. And now quite a few SCVs going down at the third for Vindicta.
Yeah, we have a counter push going up into the natural base of Vindicta, but Vindicta is on top of all of Epic's production. There's so many units here, and he's actually going to pull back with his Ravens and his tanks to try and defend what's going on in his natural, but so many units destroying everything in the natural. He's actually denied all the mining there. There are enough units in the main to protect the production line of Vindicta. He's going to float his CC, try and maybe take the bottom half of the map, and there's still units being cleaned up in Epic's base.
See the difference in that production starting to make a huge difference here. Epic finally cleans it up, but he's down to half the army supply. Is getting a nice fight here with these tanks on the low ground. One of them is disabled, but I think in the end this is going to be cleaned up, and now Epic looking like he's in a bit of a tough spot here. Half the army supply of Vindicta.
Yes, but he is going to increase his income as he took a lot of bases to the north side of the map, and as long as he can keep his production safe for just a little bit longer, he can start to, snowball his position a little bit more, as Vindicta's still trying to mine off of 3 bases. He's got to float his base back to his natural. He is going to push across the bottom again. It looks like he's going to go for that drop into the main, just like he just was doing, and try and get onto the production once again, which could force us into a pretty awkward state.
No turrets whatsoever for Epic to prevent this drop from happening again, so still vulnerable here. Epic trying to find damage with these drops, gonna go once again into the third base of Vindicta, but the mining is really favoring Epic at this point. But with this drop and these tanks on the low ground, this is looking very dangerous.
Yeah, Vindicta's going to get a lot of damage done with that drop, but there's a triple medevac drop going to Vindicta's base. It's going to kill a lot of the economy at the third base. This is a pivotal base for Vindicta, as his main's going to be mining out very soon, and Vindicta's going to start dropping into the main and getting on top of all the production of Epic. This could get very awkward very fast, as there are a few production facilities to the north side of the map, but most of the production is in the main base of Epic, so it's going to be very tough for him to clean this up.
Epic does manage to siege up a couple of his siege tanks in the main base, but with that nice stim from those Marines, he is going to clean it up. Now there's 3 tanks shelling absolutely all of the production for Epic, and he's mining still quite a lot, 57 workers to 49. The third base from Vindicta is floating off to those gold minerals. Nice decision making for him, but he still has such an advantage in terms of economy.
Yeah, and Epic finding the hole in the defense. He's going to drop on top of this tank at the gold base mineral line. And now these Marines able to stim on top of the Liberators. Liberators trying to defend this base, but it looks like Epic's going to take it out. But on the other side of the map, these tanks are just in such an awkward, chaotic state right now, with these tanks attacking all the production and basically wiping out the main of Epic. And now Vindicta trying to mount a defense on his side.
Epic losing quite a few workers here in the main base, so even though he's got lots of bases, he has actually not that much more mining than Vindicta, but losing that third base for Vindicta is going to be really, really devastating. He does float his main command center down to his old third base, who's going to be able to resume mining, but so many workers have gone down for both players. I can't help but feel like this is a very, very scrappy game.
Yeah, we have little bits of units everywhere. Vindicta's kind of trapped in the main base of Epic, and look at that, Epic trying to boost into the third base location again of Vindicta, but realizing he can't really do that, sees all the tanks, sees the Marines in position. He's going to try and maybe siege up closer and push these into these tanks, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that. The production is finally back online for Epic, but now it's just kind of all over the map. It's in a very awkward spot. And now Vindicta picking up units and going to try and maybe push that top area. He's got to know that there are top half bases.
income there. It's almost twice the income for Epic with the amount of mules that he has, with the amount of bases that he has. He's going to be stable for the long term, even though his base has been completely cleaned out. The longer this goes on, the more that army supply starts to close. Yes, there's an army supply advantage for Vindicta, but they're even on upgrades, and the gap is beginning to close. So the longer this goes on, the better chances Epic has to come back into this.
Yeah, look at this. We have a double medevac drop at this base to the 12 o'clock position, while another drop is heading to the corner base location. These Marines are going to pick off a few of the red Marines, but they are going to chase off the medevacs. But another medevac in the top left corner going to harass the worker line. And Vindicta trying to add tanks now to his northern pushes. He's just trying to keep these Marines occupied while he can set up with the siege tanks, because I think he has a lead in the siege tank count. He has 14 tanks to just the 4 of Epic.
Yeah, and that's, you can see where that army supply is not in just useless supply. Those tanks are going to be so helpful, especially on all these vulnerable bases that Epic has. Yes, he has so many bases, but look how many vulnerabilities he has. These tanks on the low ground are going to completely deny mining from this. He's going to have to move that CC. I don't see him mining there anytime soon, but with the complete surround of Epic, he's coming at him from 2 angles. He might be able to get the fight he needs, but there's so many tanks for Vindicta.
He's going for that full surround. If he can get around all those tanks, this is huge. All the Marines surrounding the tanks, they're going to get around everything and pick off 4 tanks and a bunch of medevacs. There's a lot of units going down for Vindicta, and he still has that position in the natural base of Epics, but now he's still only on 2 base mining. His natural base is pretty much mined out by now, so really he's just mining out of 1 base. And now what is the plan for Vindicta? I think he's in a little bit of trouble here after losing those tanks.
I mean, this really annoying drop here has killed so many workers. It's keeping the worker count even overall, but now that this has been cleaned up, Epic is going to begin to stabilize, and once the dust settles here, I think Epic is going to be in a much better position.
Yeah, Epic having 3 CCs mining that the northwest corner of the map, and Vindicta trying to get all of his units together, it looks like, with these medevacs, but they gotta be careful. You don't want to fly over a pack of Marines like that. And those siege tanks, just even though the tank count is in favor of Vindicta, 3 of them are trapped in that corner of the map. Now a big triple medevac drop going to the natural base of Vindicta. There's not any units here to defend it. All the units are on the south side of the map, so this is going to be a dead CC. It is gone very quickly. And finally another CC lands for Vindicta to mine another base, but he's definitely behind now in economy, and these Marines are going to take out a lot of supply depots. Some Marines coming down the ramp, and I don't know if it's actually enough here. I think there's just too many units for Epic, but I guess the tank is going to help even the odds there.
Yeah, that's basically the line in the sand, that drop can't really do any more damage than that with those tanks. So nice little bit of stability there for Vindicta in a very chaotic game. These medevacs kept most of these Marines alive though, and now the worker count really starting to snowball for Epic. He's up 8 workers, he's got a bigger army now, and he's mining off of more bases. This gold base for Vindicta is keeping him in it in terms of the income, but he's at half the mineral income of his opponent, and this is going to mean a lot more Marines for Epic.
Yeah, the income advantage right now definitely in Epic's favor, but that gold base is going to help Vindicta kind of even the odds here. He's getting some more minerals here. He has tanks in position to hold this push on the bottom. He just has to be very careful about how he engages and how he defends here. Just doesn't want to leave his CCs vulnerable to tank fire.
Like there's going to be a big push onto this 3rd gold base for Vindicta, and Epic is looking to be aggressive here. I love this relentless aggression of Epic, but I think once he scans and realizes there are 7 tanks there, I don't think he's going to be forcing the issue. He's going to try and find another angle of attack.
Yeah, he's going to have to look for a different angle. There are tanks in very great positions though to defend that gold base, even having tanks in the mineral line. So I don't see this push working. I think that Vindicta just has too good of a defensive posture here. There are no Liberators, there's no Vikings for either player, so it's going to be very hard for just Marine, tank, medevac to push forward. As I say that, a triple medevac drop going into the main now will be cleaned up very quickly, and Epic is just going to go for it. He stims forward, and a lot of Marines going down. This is just chaos. This defensive position is so good, and now Vindicta picking up his Marines, dropping on the siege tanks. He's going to be able to pick off these siege tanks with the Marines, and a great engagement for Vindicta. He takes out all of the tanks and all the Vikings. Or all the tanks and all the Marines.
The downside of that relentless aggression from Epic is he finally goes into a position he really should not have attacked into. With that double medevac drop, there was actually too much in the main of Vindicta, so Vindicta cleans up on both fronts, and now he's pushing Epic right back across the map.
look at that. Just a huge number of Marines and very few units left for Epic. Realizing he overstepped his boundaries here, he's going to have to retreat all the way back to his production, his bases, which is just kind of scattered all throughout the middle of his side of the map. And now the pressure is on him as Vindicta is pushing forward with all these siege tanks. He has so many units here and so many tanks. The tank count is outrageous for him. He's going to be able to push this no problem and take out this CC or force it to lift off at the very least.
CC though, I think Epic's still in a good spot. That attack from him, despite losing so much army, he did put him down to 25 workers, and now this drop from the Epic is going to go right on top of these tanks and start to clean these up. This is actually looking like a nice little tactic from Epic.
Yeah, he's able to get some friendly fire tank damage to take out some of Vindicta's tanks, but I think the writing is on the wall for Epic. He's losing so many units here, and as I say that, you know, he kind of mounts a little bit of a defense here, but because of how spread out his production is, I don't know if he can actually hold all these siege tanks.
Once the siege tanks are unsieged, and this is already going pretty great for him. He's cleaning up a large majority of this, but with these reinforcements from Vindicta, this is looking like a complete snowball here. Vindicta now pushing the last siege tank of Epic. He's right on top of these barracks, and now this is going to be a very, very difficult hold.
That's it, and now with Marines on top of all the production, there are tanks coming out. There is a tank and a planetary going to be able to pressure or keep some of the units away from the planetary, but now all these extra barracks that were made in panic earlier are going to get taken out by the siege tanks because they're so spread out and they're all over in these awkward positions on the map. You know, you're not, you know, neat and tidy in your main base. Your barracks are just kind of all over the place. That's the disadvantage, is now that random units all over the place are going to attack them, and now everything being pulled off of the mineral lines, all the SCVs coming out, and the Marines are being targeted. GG, well played. Epic loses game one. Vindicta taking the 1-0 lead.
Wow, Mike, that was one of the funnest TVTs I have ever seen, I have to say. Really seeing the clash of styles between these two players. I haven't really seen much of them other than the games we casted earlier. But what do you make of the styles between these two players?
I loved Vindicta's tank and medevac control. It was so cool to see him moving the tanks around and repositioning them with the medevacs, and just very fast. It puts a lot of pressure on the opponent to reposition his own tanks and to get units ready to go, because it's almost like the old tank-evacs, right? The tanks get set up quicker, and now all of a sudden you're on the back foot, and if you lose too many units, then it makes the defense that much harder.
Yeah, and I really love the clash of styles there, in the sense that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, this is just what I noticed, but Epic seems to be like a complete drunken master. He's just flailing about, always trying to do damage, always trying to do a medevac drop, triple medevac drop here, like relentless aggression. And Vindicta just seems very solid, very slow and methodical, and I think that actually paid off for him there. You can see he's just overall just a very solid player.
Yeah, it was very cool to see him methodically take control of Epic's base. Epic, like, he lost control of his main base from that push from the bottom side, moving the tanks up and over the cliffs, and then he was very patient. He wasn't trying to rush down to the natural and do more damage. He kind of stayed up on top, did his damage, and left a lot of units there even for a long portion of that game, and just making, you know, leaving a Viking and a medevac there to kind of, you know, keep those tanks safe, so until he could pick them up and drop them somewhere else later on. But here we go. All right, Epic on the bottom right hand corner in the red trunks, representing Psystorm. He is down 0-1. There he is. Psystorm's Epic.
His opponent also playing TERRAN, an absolute wall of a man. Nothing is getting past this man. He has siege tanks for days. He is Alpha X's Vindicta.
Miguel himself. Oh man, that was so cool. And this is a cool map too. I really like this one. It's a lot smaller than the maps we're used to. The rush distance is so short, and there are so many ways you can push it with these different cliffs in the middle, with the destructible rocks kind of taking up some of the pathways. You can set up a lot of different siege positions, and it's gonna be interesting to see how these guys take their third base and going even forward after that, trying to secure 4 bases. I think securing 4 bases on this map is almost an impossibility.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if it's going to come to that, to be honest, because both of these players showing that they're capable of very heavy aggression, and they saw how the other person opened. And honestly, Vindicta in that game, I felt like he was pretty far behind after the early to mid game, and he still managed to grind it out. So I hope that he's able to get like a really early lead here, and that might lead to actually a shorter game. But we'll have to see if he's gonna show a little bit more of an aggressive side here rather than just holding whatever shenanigans Epic has for him.
Yeah, you know what? The patience paid off for sure. He was definitely behind about 4 to 5 workers just based off the opening. Both player, one player going double gas, the other player going one gas with the Reaper expand. You'll usually see that, that single gas player jumping ahead economically, but Vindicta stuck through it. He played his game. He was able to, make some magic happen in the mid game, do some damage, and get some nice drops in and some really good tank positioning. His tank positioning, I love players that go really heavy tanks. I really love seeing lots and lots of siege tanks. It's one of my favorite Terran units. And when Vindicta had, I think it was like 14 to 17 tanks, and Epic only had 4, I just loved seeing that, and him kind of attacking at all angles and defending a bunch of different angles with siege tanks.
Yeah, and really, it seemed like what he did was just basically wall up and let Epic kill himself. I don't really think that Vindicta beat Epic in that last game so much as Epic kind of beat himself with his aggression, because yes, Vindicta did end up pushing at the end of the game, and yes, Vindicta's army control is phenomenal, so he is able to kill him if he needs to, but he's not going to attack until he has an advantage. He's not going to go into a fight. He's been reading the art of war. He knows to wait until he's in a strong position before he attacks his opponent.
That's right. He almost baited the opponent into that gold base, like, yeah, I've got the gold base, come get me. And then there was 7 or 8 tanks there, and Epic just went for it, and I'm sure he's kicking himself and wants that game back, because he knows that he kind of pushed at a bad position there. But because of the chaotic state of that game, you gotta think of everything that both players are thinking about, especially Epic having his production all over the map, having his bases everywhere, just trying to look at so many different places. And you almost, at the start of every game, every player sets up their camera hotkeys, their 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. And when you think about it, he was in a completely different position on that map from where he started. He's up in the top left with all of his stuff, probably, trying to scramble to get all that set back up. And, Vindicta, on the other hand, just was in his normal area of the map on the bottom right of Golden Wall, and, a little bit more in his comfort zone, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think that's a kind of an intangible factor that you can't really put a number to, but it does make a huge difference. I mean, I know for me as a player, that just being in my comfort zone, having less things being different about the game than normal is going to make me stronger in general, and I think that really was a great advantage for Vindicta.
Yeah, look at this little move out from Epic. He has a tank, a pack of Marines, and 1 Reaper coming across to attack Vindicta. Vindicta does have a bunker and tanks on the high ground, but this is an interesting push out. But there is a Viking, so I don't know if anything could really get done with it.
Yeah, it's a cute little push out, especially as he's taking a pretty early 3rd base behind this. So I think this is kind of a move to posture and just keep himself safe to take this 3rd base. This is also going to mean that Vindicta might be delaying his 3rd base a little bit, because he's thinking, oh, a push is coming. I don't really want to be dropping 400 minerals into a command center right now. And I think this is just going to be a little bit of a non-committal from Epic, but as we saw in last game, you never really know with him. He's very, very aggressive, and he might be committing into this pretty early.
Look at that, setting up on the low ground with a Viking, or with a tank and a Cyclone, but it's not really. Vindicta not taking the bait, not trying to engage from the high ground. He doesn't want to lose a Viking either, and Epic just gonna retreat back home with his units. He did have a drop looking like it was gonna go to the south side of the natural, but then he pulls that back as well. So Epic, wanting to be aggressive early in this game, decides to pull back and wait until maybe a little bit later when he has extra Ravens and tanks.
Like this from him, right? He's got his 3rd base a lot quicker than Vindicta does. He's got his double engineering bay already building, so he's going to set himself up to be in a very, very strong mid game here. He only went 1 engineering bay in the first game, so he was always like kind of even on upgrades with Vindicta, so this is going to give him a chance to use those Marines. We saw Epic's very, very powerful use of Marines in the last game, and if he has an upgrade advantage, I fear for Vindicta.
Yeah, one thing that is very important in this matchup is upgrades. I don't know if it's as important in ZERG versus ZERG or Protoss versus Protoss, with them utilizing some more melee units like Charge Zealots and Zerglings. And But with the range of the Marines, if you have Marines that are 1-1 against 1-0 or 2-2 versus 1-1, or if there's any upgrade disadvantage, it makes a huge difference. You have all those extra Marines doing 1 extra damage. It's basically killing 1 extra Marine every time they fire, or a couple extra Marines every time they fire. The person with the upgrade disadvantage usually loses that fight very, very quickly. Like it's almost crazy when I watch my own games and I see like, oh no, my upgrades are late against another Terran and he's at 2-2 and I'm on 1-1 and my Marines just disappear.
Being said though, we're seeing from Vindicta, he is getting his 1-1 started a little bit later from Epic, but actually both players are going to be probably hitting a similar timing. I doubt that little sliver of time is going to make a huge difference for these two players. It potentially could, but I don't think Epic has any way of knowing that he's going to have that small little window. So he might be pushing right when his 2-2 finish, or when his 1-1 finishes, which could be good. But as long as Vindicta plays safe and has, kind of bunkers down, keeps tanks sieged up until his 1-1 is finished, he should be absolutely fine.
Absolutely. Like you said, he'll have a short window, maybe 15 to 20 seconds to push across as 1-1 is hitting. But if he doesn't actually put pressure on Vindicta's bases, and he has 2 sensor towers already, he shouldn't be able to really get a good siege up position outside the base to put pressure on and apply pressure with his units. And look at that, he's trying to do a little boost trick where he unloads the medevacs to tank the tank shots, but wisely retreats as Vindicta had a lot of his units in position.
I love how you can already see the styles of these two players playing out, right? You've got Epic with his very aggressive style. He's not bothering with sensor towers. He's out on the map. He's got map control. He's looking for a spot to do damage. Meanwhile, Vindicta has got the 2 sensor towers, sieging up his tanks, moving them around. He's going to know basically everywhere, right? He's going to know where the units are. These sensor towers covering all the space. And yeah, Epic's looking to be aggressive, but I don't know. I mean, this is looking like a pretty scary attack.
Ooh. That was a big pickoff. Gets all the tanks that are defending this third base, and now taking out the sensor towers. He's going to slowly inch forward with these tanks. Vindicta does move his tanks to defend. He's going to have to lift up his CC. He clears up the Marines. All that is left is Vikings and tanks, but the tanks are just out of range, and now Vindicta able to drop his Marines just like before on top of the tanks of Epic. However, reinforcing Marines going to come by and clear up the Marines of Vindicta, so I think this pressure is going to keep going as the tanks can still reach the command center.
Yeah, this is a really awkward spot to be in for Vindicta. Yeah, he was repositioning back and forth, trying to prepare for this attack. He just got out of position just about one time. Big commitment from Epic. I love the decisiveness of Epic in this game, pouncing on the weakness as soon as he sees it. And now this CC has taken so much damage. Epic going up to 73 workers, and the big fight is gonna happen. A big stim from Vindicta to try and clean this up. He does manage to get the B out of his back, but at what cost, Mike? At what cost?
The losses are almost dead even, with Epic losing a little bit more as far as Marines go, but they lost the same number of tanks. Forcing that pickup of the CC is a big deal, because you're going to see the income advantage is going to greatly favor Epic. But now Vindicta, knowing that he had to lift up his 3rd CC, probably has to do some damage. He picks up all of his units and he is going. So he's going to try and take advantage that there's no sensor towers on Epic's side of the map and try to get something done at the 3rd ore main. Might even go for a big doom drop, and Epic's going to throw down, oh, this is so smart. He throws down a supply depot on the edge of the map. He's going to see all of the medevacs coming across and immediately responds. He's going to pull everything back. He was moving across for a big push, and Vindicta's going to be trapped here with 4 medevacs.
Yeah, this is a really awkward position to be in. He is trying to posture with the rest of his army on the middle of the map, but a drop from Epic at the 3rd base is going to do a lot of damage here, putting him down to 55 workers. The SCV is being pulled to repair the command center, but he's already taking so many losses here. He doesn't have anything. He's going to have to pull those units back from the middle of the map to clean this up, and now these units are caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, what Terrans do not have that recall ability, and now he's gonna have to try and boost these units back home or somewhere else, and he's actually gonna take out the supply depot here. So this is maybe not a bad idea. He loses a lot of income on that north side base. He's got to make something happen, so he's gonna try and posture up and make it happen at the 3rd base, but I don't know, this is looking pretty rough for Vindicta.
Yeah, Epic showing that actually is maybe a little bit better decision making in this game and playing even a little bit more defensively. I love the heads up play there, making sure he gets that supply depot down. That makes all the difference in the world for that spot. But a big flank from Epic here, or from Vindicta, is going to catch this out, but the tanks are getting some pretty good shots here, and actually it looks a little bit different here. Vindicta is getting pushed back.
Yeah, you know what? He had such an awesome surround setup, but look at the upgrades. We talked about the differences in upgrades for Terran versus Terran, and we got 2-2 versus 1-1. Vindicta's 2-2 almost completed, but he lost so many Marines in that middle engagement. Even though he had an excellent flank setup, he had 3 locations, like a three-pronged surround. But there it is, GG. Vindicta down, or now tied series, 1-1.
Yeah, really nicely played from Epic there, showing he's not going to let the game go very long. He's just going to bully him through. He had that pressure put on early on, and then he just didn't take his foot off the gas pedal the entire time. So really nicely played from Epic.
Yeah, great game from both players. Epic really showing how aggressive he can be and just taking full advantage of the positioning and his upgrade advantage.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 more tanks at his third base when that first attack comes in, and he's absolutely fine. But he's just Epic just was looking for that in. He was just looking for, oh, he's only got 2 tanks here. Okay, now I can go. And you can tell the experience of Epic there. He knows exactly what he's able to push into, and it kind of caught him out in the first game, but looks like it paid off in this one.
All right, guys, game 3 of our winners match. The winner of this game advances to the championship Sunday. Will it be Epic? Will it be Vindicta? I don't know. Both players showing great games.
Yeah, it's anybody's game. This is actually really enjoyable. I might even be enjoying this more than the last TVZ we watched. Really, really enjoying these games.
Who said TVT is boring? Whoever said that is wrong. All right, guys. In the top left-hand corner, taking the series to game 3, winning game number 2, it is Psystorm's Epic.
His opponent playing the red Terran in the bottom right-hand corner of Death Aura LE. He is the Wall Vindicta.
The Wall. I like that. We'll call him that because of his victory on Golden Wall and his excellent defenses. And he did a great job defending at the start of that last game. However, it was the repositioning and the constant pressure from Epic that was able to get him the victory last game.
Yeah, it's almost like, to characterize it in the simplest terms possible, Vindicta is really good at defending, but Epic might just be a little bit better at attacking.
That's a great way to simplify it for sure. And you're absolutely right. Vindicta just very content on sitting back, getting his sensor towers up, and just being very aware of where his opponent is moving on the map. And it's very important to see that. Look at how fast that SCV is going. But seeing where your opponent's army is so important in TVT, because one little misstep, one reposition of tanks, and it could be all over so quickly. And it's such an important thing to see where your opponent's army is on this map. Or not on this map, in this matchup.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see how Epic doesn't really bother with things like sensor towers. He just uses the buildings that he's already going to build anyway, so the supply depots, to be his spotters. He's running a little fast and loose there, but I think with his playstyle, he's so aggressive so often that it doesn't really matter if he's not defending properly, because he knows that if his opponent does attack him, it's just going to mean that he's not going to be able to defend all of his aggression.
Yeah, and like you said, with the scouting, with the with the supply depots, that was so cool. And look at this, we got multiple SCVs. I don't know if this is a miss micro or if this is intentional, but multiple SCVs heading to that side of the map now. You think we're going to see maybe a
attempt to get the better of this initial engagement here? We saw Epic using that Reaper and SCV combination in game 1. He was able to get the better of it. Now a bunker even being dropped at the natural here. But so far, Epic, with the really nice control on this Reaper, he's done a lot of damage to Vindicta's Reaper. And this is going to mean, I think this is probably going to get cleaned up.
Yeah, you know what? He's able to clear up 2 of the SCVs. All 3, actually. Sorry. Yeah, he gets 2 SCVs. I think both players losing 2 SCVs right there. No, just 1 for Epic loss. So a cute little move trying to go for an aggressive bunker there, but I think that's gonna end the pressure.
Yeah, I think he was trying to snowball to delay that CC, but now the CC is already done. It's turning him into an orbital. The Hellion does join. He's getting some good damage on these Marines, but I think with the Hellion from Epic coming out, he's going to stabilize, and looks like he's gotten away with this Reaper expand again.
Yeah, I really like the use of the bunker there, the unfinished bunker. He doesn't cancel it right away. Instead, uses it as vision and then cancels it at the last second, using it so that it kind of soaks up a little bit of damage, and then he moves in with the Reaper and the Hellions. So very, very neat little maneuver, and look how fast getting on the other side of that speed zone. Both players trying to use it to get away or to reposition their units to clean this up, and it looks like Vindicta's going to get this Reaper before it can get away and scout.
Yeah, really nice cleanup there from Vindicta, is at least going to clean up those units from Epic out on the map. But so far, Epic's looking really solid with that reactored barracks pumping on Marines. He's got a nice concave at the front. This is unlikely to do much of anything. Nearly loses a Marine, but with that little pole micro, manages to keep him alive. The Reaper's going to pop into the main base, try and get a little bit of a scout, maybe a little bit of damage done on these SCVs, but with these Vikings popping out, with this heads-up play from Epic, he's not going to take much of any damage.
That's right, the Cyclone coming out, clearing up the Reaper, but a full scout off, so you know, Vindicta sees no third CC, he sees that there's a Viking out and no tech lab yet on the starport. I guess they did swap over, so the Ravens are going to come out about the same time, and both players relatively even, with Epic taking a slight worker advantage because of his greedier opener, and now starting his third CC. So just like game one, Epic taking advantage of that Reaper expand and just taking a small lead, and a nice pickoff on the Cyclone actually. Vindicta picking off a Cyclone and a couple other units.
Vindicta's showing some nice control in the middle of the map here. He's trying to make the most out of the position that he's in. Because he goes for that more standard opener, he's not getting the really early economic lead, so he's trying to get the edge in these trades so that he has a better army, and so far it's working out for him. He's got a slightly bigger army than Epic does, but I mean, I don't know, the longer this goes on, these 5 extra workers for Epic are definitely going to start paying off.
Absolutely, and I love seeing Vindicta be aggressive with his Cyclone. I like to do this even in my own games. It's just, if I know there's nothing on my side of the map, sure, I'll pick off a Marine, I'll pick off a Hellion or your Cyclone with mine and keep it on your side of the map. It's really cool to see players at the highest tier do something that, you know, you do in your own games a little bit, albeit way better than I could ever do it. It's still really cool to see him pick off what he can with that Cyclone.
It's such a fun unit to use, to be honest. I got a clan man of mine who uses Cyclones every game all the time. That's all he makes. And I've tried to emulate his style, and I gotta tell you, I'm not the best at it, but it does lead to some fun games because you're just constantly moving your army around, constantly trading, and obviously this is a little slice of that pie, right? With that little Cyclone movement, he's gonna actually join it up with the main army and try and do a little bit of a push here. He's gonna threaten the third CC here of Epic. He really doesn't want to let him get this down. He is building his own third CC on location here, so if he can manage to deny the mining of that, it should actually equalize the economy a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Taking a little bit of a greedier on location CC, it's gonna help him kind of climb back into it economically, because like I said, he was behind about 5 workers. The worker count is still in favor of Epic, but with the third CC on location, even though it's not going to be an orbital as fast, it's going to start mining faster, and that's what's really key.
Scary thing for Vindicta here is this air army from Epic is looking pretty epic. I mean, he's got 4 Vikings, he's been producing them out of a reactor, so now he's got complete air control here, and Vindicta with his 2 little Ravens I think he's just going to be scared to engage here. He's always going to be down in vision, he's always going to have the threat of those Vikings landing on his tanks. It's a pretty scary position to be in if you've lost air control in a TVT against someone as good as Epic.
Yeah, it's definitely scary in the mid game when you have one player with, you know, 4 to 5 Vikings versus no Vikings. It can really snowball hard if you can keep that air control and then add just even, I like to call it the late game or the mid game attack when one player wins or loses to 1 Liberator, because you know you got all those Vikings protecting 1 Liberator that just slowly pushes your siege tanks back ever so slightly. You have to keep moving back until finally you're pushed up against your third, or you're pushed up against your natural, and this air army just keeps inching forward and then inching forward with tanks. So we'll see if Vindicta wants to add medevacs or try to catch up in the air arms race.
And Yeah, and I think it's a good call from Epic to just completely snowball the air battle. I mean, if you've won the air battle and you don't take your foot off the gas, you should be in a pretty decent position no matter what, right? Like, I don't think you're ever feeling, if you have too many Vikings, you'd be like, oh no, I have too many Vikings. Like, okay, now I'll win the air battle and then I'll go harass with them. There's always going to be some kind of use for those Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings definitely, they have so much utility later on, whether it's catching drops, whether it's landing in the main base and hitting SCVs or hitting reactors or tech labs, or just, you know, being part of a straight up fight, right? Vikings versus Vikings or Vikings versus Liberators and Ravens. There's so much utility to the Viking in this matchup, and it's very important. So we see Epic moving across the map, wanting to do something with this air advantage. On the other side of things, double drop landing and immediate cancel from that 4th base, and it looks like Epic's gonna try and push the advantage with this air army.
Yeah, so he needs to leapfrog these tanks up there. With that extra vision, there's really nothing challenging him in the air for Vindicta. So Epic is just going to fly right on top of everything with these Vikings, kill any air units that do get made for Vindicta. So he's going to ensure that he never loses air control, because he could really just sit these Vikings right on top of those starports if he wanted to.
Ooh, and Raven maybe kind of getting caught out trying to harass, gets picked off by Epic, and now it looks like with the Vikings on patrol, Epic's going to try and move his tanks up closer and closer to that CC. And there it is, the one Liberator, the death by one Liberator. Here it comes. He's going to force all... Oh, on the other flip side, look at that. He just goes for it. Doesn't care about the Liberator. Instead, goes for the attack and eats an anti-armor missile. It actually looks like Vindicta is going to take the better engagement here. He drops behind the tanks and cleans everything up. Oh my goodness.
Words for how great of an engagement that was from Vindicta. It was looking so scary, but as soon as that Liberator sieged up, he sieged up his tank, stemmed from 2 angles, and absolutely wrecked it. Nice, really good disables on those with those Ravens. Just a beautiful micro there from Vindicta.
I've never considered just full-on engaging after seeing that Liberator. That caught me by surprise so hard. He saw the Liberator siege up. He's like, well, there's no way I can ever I can't defend against the Liberator. I can't regain the air advantage. So what does he do? He unsieges everything, just goes. Doesn't even lift up the CC, doesn't take any economic damage, and wins the fight. That was so key for Vindicta. It was so good.
It's just a complete alpha move, dude. He's gonna be hanging out with Rob after this.
Him and Rob are the alpha chads of the group, just making big plays when you think that, you know, a big play isn't possible. And look at this, Epic trying to stem up a ramp, gonna lose some Marines for free, and Vindicta not really taking any damage. Vindicta dropping on the other side of the map, doing a little bit of damage, kills 2 SCVs and a handful of Marines. Maybe gonna get some reactors now.
Pickup of the units from Epic. He's gonna be able to clean this up and deflect this drop. Would like to see him drop at least a few turrets just to deflect these drops a little bit, but just looks like it's not Epic's style at this point. He's gonna use his units to defend wherever possible. He doesn't want to have to invest in any kind of crap like a turret. He's gonna spend all his money in attack, and looks like he's gonna continue to be harassed here a little bit, but with this nice little medevac micro, he is gonna deflect this.
Look at this, another drop to the 12 o'clock base of Epic, but Epic having his 3-3 already halfway done. Vindicta just finished his 2-2, so the longer this game goes, that 3-3 upgrade is going to be so pivotal. And even +2 tank weapons on the way are just about finishing, as Vindicta's +1 tank weapons is just now finishing. So this is a little bit scary for Vindicta as far as the upgrades go. There's going to be an advantage for Epic here, and he's actually going to get on top of this ramp, and he's going to loot. Epic is able to pick off Liberator too.
These tanks from Vindicta are just a little bit too far back to protect this CC from being shelled by the army of Epic, and Epic's got a lot of blue moving across the map. I shudder to think of Vindicta's petty little army. It's going to get caught between 3 different flanks here. I don't know if Epic realizes it, but once he does, he's going to be able to pounce on this. He comes from 2 sides. You cannot leave. He's going to completely trap this army. Looks like he does manage to get away through the safety of this acceleration zone, but his 3rd base is still taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, his 3rd base is under siege this whole time, and you know, there's some decent defensive positions here for Vindicta, but you know, the time is against him here. Slowly but surely, Epic is creeping up. He has his 3-3 just about finished. +3 attack is on the way for Vindicta, so he's down an upgrade. He's going to be down both upgrades for his bio for a long time here. It's going to be a long time before he can actually take a straight up engagement. He's going to be needing to be pre-siege. And look at this, a huge alpha move, dropping Marines on top of the front tanks, going towards the planetary. And Vindicta's actually going to hold off a little bit. The tanks and the planetary able to hold on the low ground while Epic tries to get up on the other side on the ramp. But look at this defense from Vindicta.
Vindicta living up to his nickname of being the wall here, just patiently draws Epic into a false sense of security. There was a really nice flank there from Epic coming up from 2 different angles, but now the 4th base from Vindicta is going down, but I think the army is favoring him at this point, so we might have a chance to just push Zeus back with these Liberators.
Yeah, he's not gonna be able, Epic's not gonna be able to continue this siege. Instead, he gets pushed back by the Liberators, and now he's gonna lose another tank, and Epic now taking some harassment on his side of the map with some Liberators from Vindicta harassing the 4th base.
Yeah, Vindicta again showing that patient play while that was happening. While he was patiently cleaning up that entire attack, he managed to keep all his bases alive and get a Liberator sieging up on Epic's side of the map. So that economic advantage that Epic had since the beginning of the game has now evaporated. And although he's got the better weapon upgrades, he does not have the better army. He does not have the better economy. Yes, he has an extra base or 2, but they are currently being sieged up by Liberators, and now he is also under siege by this massive army of Vindicta.
I think Vindicta is going to pull ahead here. He's actually picking off a lot of units. There's tanks on the low ground that are kind of out of in an awkward position while Liberator does damage at the 4th base, and now units dropping onto Vindicta's tanks, and maybe Epic cleans this up, but at what cost? He's losing so many units. He actually isn't able to clean up all the tanks. These tanks are going to take out the CC before it can lift.
SCV's going down at the 4th base of Epic. This Liberator has a complete shooting gallery, finally saving 4 of the SCVs at the end, but he was so distracted. You can't blame him. It's just such a nice multi-pronged maneuver from Vindicta. Now he drops into the main base with his tanks. Reinforcements coming in a line down the middle of the map, and this position is going to be nearly impossible for Epic to break.
And Epic losing 40 SCVs. All of his production is under siege right now. This looks like it could be the end. He's going to try and clean up the tanks on the high ground. He does get rid of them, but there are tanks on the low ground to protect the high ground Marines. And Vindicta's just going to keep dropping up onto the high ground under safety of these siege tanks. Now, Epic does have more CCs on the map, but I don't think he's going to be able to reproduce his army.
Vindicta really focusing on the tactics and the army control in this particular game, but he's going to get a massive doom drop from Epic onto his base, onto his units, but it's going to be too much for him. Vindicta takes game number 3.
And our first player to advance from Group B is Vindicta. We'll have a short interview with him, and then we'll get on to our losers match, which will be Robbie versus McIntack at PVZ. So that is going to be a good one. Lots of variety in these groups.
Can't wait to see it.
Just waiting for Vindicta to respond so we can get him in here for a very quick interview, ask him a few questions, and get on to our losers match. Hello, Miguel. Vindicta, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm great. That was an epic series. How do you feel after that one?
Maybe a little undeserved, but I'm just happy that I was like patient enough to just hold on and hope that a mistake was coming, or force a mistake, I guess.
That first game on Golden Wall was absolutely nuts. How do you stay so patient in those situations. It was such a chaotic game. Both sides having drops on both areas of their respective sides of the map. How do you just like stay calm in that situation?
I think it's like, it's either if you're not calm, then your opponent will be, and it's like, if you're calm, you're less likely to make further mistakes than the mistakes you've already made. And if your opponent doesn't do a good job being calm like that, then usually they'll make mistakes, like they'll get impatient or something like that. And that's like what ended up happening for me. So it's like you're kind of just hoping for one of those mistakes, either by forcing it or just like being chill and hoping that your opponent like does get a little bit impatient. And yeah, I feel like it's like nothing to lose situation, I guess.
Right on, right on. Good answer. So you'll be moving on to face the second place player from Group C. Have you looked at the groups at all other than yours?
Yeah, I have actually. Let me open the bracket. Here it is. Group C. So second place of Group C.
Yeah, so I'll read it out to you. You have Jason, NYK, Creature, or Dolan. Who would you like to face from that group?
I wouldn't mind playing Jason or Dolan.
Yeah,
I think
another
it's
TBT.
fun to play them. It's fun to play them TBT. I think all the NA players are fun to play in TBT.
I agree. TBT is slowly becoming one of my favorite matchups, and I think it's just because you're seeing so much variety and so many chaotic games these days, especially at like the highest level. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, it definitely is.
All right. So I won't keep you too long. Is there any shout outs, any social media, Twitch, anything you want to link or shout out to anyone watching here?
Oh yeah, shout out to my team Alpha X for supporting me as always. And then just follow me on Twitch. I'm gonna type in chat Ola. There you go, that's me. You can follow me. I just got new emotes. They're pretty cool. I'll even show them off right now real quick.
New emotes. Yeah, show them off real quick in Twitch. Oh,
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
I love the face. I love the face emote, man.
Yeah, it's sick. We need to spam that in chat. So please sub, follow me, watch my stream.
Give your money to Vindicta, spam his face, and cheer for him on Championship Sunday. We'll see you then, buddy.
All right, thanks so much, man.
All right, take care. Cheers. All right, guys. Vindicta advancing first. We'll have our losers match on the way. We're going to take another quick 5-minute break so that I can drink some water and Dane can do the same because that was a long, awesome series. So we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. All right.
Welcome to StarCraft Trivia with Necro. The category is casters. So, question 1. StarCraft casters are quite active on YouTube. They all do their own thing, they have their own content, but one of my favorite YouTube series was the hilarious interview series called The Extended Series. Who was the host of the Extended Series? Was it A, Day 9, B, Husky StarCraft, C, In Control, or D, Tasteless? The answer is In Control, and there is a reason his name ends in troll. Here's a short clip.
So we're gonna do a quick word association, and I want you to tell me the first thing that touches your mind when I say these words. Okay? Spoon.
Peanut.
Okay, we're gonna go past that one.
Okay.
That would be if it was like true or false. You just marked 0.
Okay.
Razor.
Peanuts.
You got nuts on the mind. Why peanuts? Tell me about that. Let's go a little bit deeper with peanuts.
So, they're pretty, like, tasty, and...
Do you like tasty nuts?
We call him literal god Tasteless, but even gods have weaknesses. What food is Nick Tasteless Plot allergic to? Is it A, bananas, B, cinnamon, C, ginger, or D, licorice? The answer is B. Cinnamon. Check out this clip.
Come back
Raisins
here.
and spice, that's the best flavor.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have the cinnamon instant oatmeal
Oh,
because
that's true.
I'm allergic
The apple
to
and
cinnamon.
cinnamon is the second best flavor too.
I'm
feel
allergic
so
to
bad
cinnamon.
For you poor little
I like
guy.
smell cinnamon rolls. I'm like, I bet those taste pretty good.
And final question of this segment. So, some casters were actually quite successful in other RTS games before StarCraft 2 came out. So some did quite well in Warcraft 3, others in StarCraft Brood War, but one caster was actually really good at Command and Conquer. Which caster has a Command and Conquer World Cyber Games Championship title under his belt? Is it A, Apollo, B, Kalaris, C, Kaldor, or D, Take from Take TV? The answer is A. Apollo actually won the Command and Conquer 3 WCG back in 2007, and it was casted by an old StarCraft caster, DJ Wheat. Here, check this out.
Things that you can do, especially fighting over the expansion. And there it is, GG coming out from Xeon, which means Apollo will win the first map. And we're going to go into the second one in just a moment. But really, I mean, essentially, if you want to break down the strategic points of that game, Apollo instantly going for that Explorer push,
Yes.
brought it out, expanded to the eastern side of the tip factory, and it really, his intention there was not to expand.
So yeah, he indeed won that game, and in fact he went on to win the rest of the series and the tournament itself, securing himself a very nice $12,000 in prize money. So Paul doesn't really cast StarCraft anymore, but that's because he's working with ESL to organize the ESL Pro Tour. So back in January of 2020, he already stated in an interview with La Spira that 6 tournaments will be held every year under ESL for the next 3 years, and that all the tournament locations in 2020 were already booked. As we know, 2020 did not exactly turn out to be as planned, and we had major hiccups regarding live events, which is why most of them were held online. But let's just say StarCraft 2 owes a lot to this British Command and Conquer champion.
Alright guys, welcome back. We are here now with the losers match between Macintac and Robbie. The winner of this will go on to face Epic. We might have Rob rematching him, or... Oh wait, it was Macintac that faced Epic, sorry. Epic might be rematching Macintac. We'll see how these guys play against each other, as both players are ready to go. This will be another best of 3.
Yeah, and obviously this is one of my favorite matchups here as well, and might be a little more knowledgeable about this one as well. And once again, Mike, I'm interested in seeing how Robbie approaches this matchup, both as a Protoss player going against a ZERG player, and also as a teammate going against a fellow teammate.
Yeah, I don't know how often they practice with one another, but it'll be really cool to see, you know, if there's any mind games being played. I'm really excited to see that.
I mean, you've got Robin's playstyle. There's going to be no mind games. He's a complete Chad. He's just going to do the most sneaky thing in the most obnoxious way possible.
Yeah, I really want to see him go for like a cannon rush or something, because I know he likes to do it. He has a variety of builds. So here we are on Everdream LE in the top right hand corner of the map, representing Team Root. It is Macintac, Mac Daddy.
His opponent in the bottom left hand corner of Everdream LE, the Chad Toss himself. He is Root's Raw.
And a little bit of banter, bringing the Twitch chat over to the game. Will Mac attack Root Rob? Yes, Mac will attack Root Rob. Will Rob Root Rob? No, he won't.
Basically made my head explode reading that in Twitch chat, showing the flexibility and yet the absolute frustration of the English language.
Oh yeah, being an English teacher, that's got to be really frustrating for you. Seeing
it's hard
Will
to
Smith
teach English because it's a language that doesn't make sense, because it's actually a bunch of different languages that have all been crammed together in the clown car of the English language. It's been spread across the world. It's been taken words from every which way, and that's why every word has 10 meanings. And as a non-native English speaker, it's really just a complete puzzle that you could embark your entire life on trying to work out.
Yeah, it makes it difficult as an English speaker to learn other languages, because then, you know, you're trying to learn, say, French or something else, and you're like, this makes no sense. Why can't it sound as dumb as my language?
Wait, your words have 1, maybe 2 meanings? That's just not acceptable. I want at least 15.
I want this one word to mean at least 15 things. All right, so what do we got here? We got a Nexus going down. Nothing crazy yet. What can we talk about with Macintac? We didn't get to see, I don't think we got to see his full plan in his last matchup against Epic. I don't think he got to do everything he wanted to do. It always felt like Epic was kind of putting the pressure on him. Do you think we'll kind of see maybe Macintac trying to put some pressure on Rob early, maybe try to take or dictate the game?
I mean, he absolutely should be doing that, because the way just PvZ works right now, there's so many vulnerabilities that Protoss has early game, and once Protoss gets stabilized on 3 bases, there's some scary pushes that they can do. So it's not like Zerg needs to end the game fast or anything like that, but you have options available to you as a Zerg player, and it would be kind of silly not to use those if you're playing a series against someone, especially if your tournament life is on the line.
That's it. The loser of this will be going home, so both players going to have to bring their A game here. Macintac not able to get that probe. It gets away. The Adept saves it. And look at this. The Adept not finishing the shade end. It looked like he might have wanted to do that, but he takes a little bit too much shield damage and backs off. And look at that. We have the Adept Glaive build coming from Rob. And the Overlord's going to see... I can't tell if the Overlord actually knows if that's researching. What's the indicator with the Twilight Council? Is it just when it's flashing like that?
It spins up. It spins up, so you can see the lights on it going up and down. I'm pretty sure that's it does that when it's researching. Now, if Rob wanted to be a big brain gamer, he would cancel it immediately when the Overlord died and drop a DT shrine, because it would have been absolutely fine to do that. But this is again what I love about Rob, is he's like, I want you to see what I'm doing because I want you to know how you're going to die.
The absolute Chad that he is, and his DT, I loved his DT play, and it didn't work out for him in game 2 on Eternal Empire, but the fact that he was still willing to make it happen, you know, he didn't cancel anything. He puts the DTs into the into the warp prism and just starts dropping them on Marines, and did not care that he was underneath a Raven. Tried to pick off as much as he could, and just shows how committed he can be and how versatile and how strong of a player he is. He can still get some damage done with stealth units even though his opponent knows it's coming.
And that's what makes Rob so great to watch, right? Like, I think it shows how a strong player works, their mindset different from someone who's, terrible like me. I was thinking, oh, cancel the Adept Glaive and then get the Dark Shrine down, that way you can, but it's like, that's not the plan that Rob had for this game. He's got a plan, and he's going to stick to that plan. There's no reason to vary from it. There's no, you don't want to go off the rails. And I love this about Rob. He's just going to completely hard commit into this Adept push. He's already getting a lot of damage on the third, shading them in to force these roaches out of position, snipes the queen for his troubles, and now the Warp Prism's here. This is looking very scary for Macintac.
Yeah, some decent control here. He saves the weakened Adepts, and now he's going to shade away. One Adept does go down. There are a lot of roaches out now. He's got to be careful with the shades now. Does he commit? He's going to go. Yeah, he gets into the main base, and now a little bit of a surround with Zerglings, but these Zerglings are actually going to get picked off very quickly, and now it's down to just these roaches. The Adepts are going to shade again after killing some workers, and 6 workers go down. Adept shade to the third, and the damage continues. The Warp Prism's still alive. I'm going to take a little bit of queen damage. But
yeah, Rob's showing some really nice decision making and control with these Adepts. He's getting the free units wherever he can. 2 queens, a few roaches have already gone down, and the more of these that go down, the harder it becomes for Macintac to stabilize, because if he keeps taking these small fights, it's going to get bad for him over time. But with this surround on these Adepts in the natural, he is going to clean this up, and finally Macintac has some room to breathe.
He's got some room to breathe. He is still losing drones, though. These couple of Adepts are still doing damage. The Warp Prism has to be very careful. It is pretty low. He picks up those Adepts and just pieces out of there. Gets out alive. Only 10 drones going down versus 10 Adepts, so it's hard to say who really came out ahead there. It feels like it was Rob.
Yeah, Rob got his third base up while that was happening. He managed to not only kill drones, but he also killed a few queens as well, which is going to delay that creep spread. So you notice on the third base, there's really like no creep spread to speak of for Macintac. So that's going to make Rob's follow-up push, whenever it does come, a lot stronger.
Yeah, look at that. Even though he lost the Warp Prism, he's still getting some damage done with the Adepts. But now this is where things might get a little bit scary for Rob, as Macintac has taken some losses. He's droning back up. He's getting his lair, and we might see a big roach push. We might see that, but actually a 4th base is going to get thrown down. So maybe Mac just wants to, stay on that honorable macro Zerg side of things and try to get just out expand his opponent and get that maxed out army. Maybe throw in some banelings. He's got the baneling nest coming down, and
yeah, this is definitely an honorable strategy from Macintac. I can't help but feel it might be a poor choice in this particular game, because he's really playing now at an economic disadvantage against Rob. He hasn't done anything to be aggressive on Rob's side of the map, so Rob is really just playing his game right now. He went for his attack, he took his third base, he hasn't really had to worry about anything. Rob's build is solid, but at the end of the day, Macintac hasn't really got to do anything that he wants to do just yet, and that's not a good sign.
yeah, he's actually, it looks like he's gonna transition into maybe Hydra laying Bane. He's got a Hydralisk almost then finishing, double Evos, and Overlord speed. I'm not quite sure what the Overlord speed is for.
I think Overlord speed is just one of those things that he just wants to get at some point, just to make sure that his Overlords can escape when the Protoss army pushes. Make sure that they can keep, I mean, obviously you're going to want to keep scouting. I don't know if maybe he'll start using drops later on. I know some players have been known to use Hydralisk play with drops a lot, so if you're going to do that, you're going to want the Overlord speed as well. So hopefully we'll see some drops from Macintac in this game. That would be really nice to see.
That would be very cool. I would love to see the drop Overlords, and this is a scary push. This is a lot of, he's got 4 sentries, 4 Immortals, and a lot of Zealots. He doesn't quite have charge, but he's just about to finish up, and now a lot of Ravagers, Roaches, and Hydras here for the defense. Those are the tools that Mac has chosen to defend this push. And here we go, big force fields on the choke. Some corrosive biles breaking them down, but very good picking off of the front Roaches. And now the Roaches and Hydras in the back trying to get a little bit of damage done, but I think Rob just has too much.
Yeah, he's barreling in there on the back of these Archons now. They are finally finished. So is the charge upgrade. Macintac frantically trying to stabilize here with those biles, but there's so many powerful Protoss units here, and he hasn't really got those key ones down yet.
Yeah, you know what? There's just so much damage coming in from these units. The power units taking game 1 for Robbie.
Yeah, we almost began to see the mid game there of Macintac kick in. It's like I was saying, it'd be nice to see him get to do something that he wants to do. It's kind of like when you play with your little brother or your little sister when you're a kid. It's like, why do we always got to play the game that you want to play? And that's kind of what Rob is showing in that game, just being, the older brother there, the absolute Chad, being like, no, we're gonna play guns. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna shoot you, and you're gonna die.
We're gonna play guns. I get to be the bad guy. You get to be the innocent bystander.
Yeah, and that's what you get for being an honorable macro Zerg, to be honest. Like, as much as I rage against against cheesy Zergs on the ladder, I mean, that's what you got to do, right? You got to do what you got to do. Play to your race's strengths. Don't just wait to die. I mean, McIntyre is a really solid player, but I mean, I would love to see him just do an early all-in next game, and just completely blast Robbie out of existence. But maybe he knows something that I don't.
Yeah, let's see. What is the next map? I did not see it. The next map's gonna be Death Aura. I think. Oh, someone declined. I think the next map is on Death Aura, and we'll see if Mac has an idea on what he wants to do on this map, or a special something he's got saved up his sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, this is we were talking about this in the last series, that it's a pretty close quarters map. The potential for aggression from both sides is pretty high, especially with those acceleration zones. I mean, I'd love to see just the Zerglings flying through there like pellets out of a shotgun, just blasting all over the front of that Protoss's base.
Oh, I love seeing units pass through the acceleration zones. I hope we get to see more maps in the future with the acceleration zones. I think it's a very cool concept.
Well, Archosis got really excited about the prospect of regular minerals with an acceleration zone over top of them to make your workers mine faster, or gold minerals with a slow zone over top of them. I mean, the possibilities, Mike, are literally endless.
While we're at it, why don't we put a set of destructible rocks right in between half of the mineral patches, so that your opponent can destroy the rocks and create a little Hellion run-by path.
Or why don't we just put random stasis wards throughout the map? Make them completely random. They spawn every single game, and no one knows where they're going to be.
No one knows where they're going to be, and they also regenerate over time. So if you set them off in one area, it'll respawn somewhere else.
I think that's a great idea. This is the kind of forward thinking that the StarCraft community needs to bring us into 2020.
Somebody get me in contact with Dustin Browder, and we'll give him our ideas.
I think he's gonna love your destructible rocks idea, dude.
You remember that old GIF that was around? I think it was a GIF of Dustin Browder sitting in his seat, and then like they mixed in different sets of destructible rocks on different maps, and it just showed him like getting out of his seat, like super excited, like, oh my god.
Yeah, like that Vince McMahon meme where he just like his face just like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, he's falling out of his chair.
Yeah.
All right, game number 2 on the way. Here we go. In the bottom right-hand corner, representing Team Root, it is Robbie, up 1-0.
His opponent in the top left-hand corner of Death Aura Alley, the Honorable Macro Zerg, also playing for Team Root. He is McIntyre.
Big Mac Daddy down 1-0 in the losers match. He's going to need to pull out all the stops to try and bring the series even and try to advance to the decider match so that he can get to Championship Sunday, where he will be playing for how much money?
I believe it's $1,000, Mike.
It's actually 500. It's 500 for the winner.
I mean, I guess when I think of it, it's like, what are the players playing for? They're playing for $1,000 prize pool. You know,
nobody
they're
wants,
playing for it. I don't know.
Nobody wants to take home second place or third place. Or
you know what they
fourth
say?
place.
Second place is really just the first loser.
That is one of my favorite expressions. I would always, joke about that when I was playing sports growing up. Playing team sports, and nobody wants silver place. No one wants the silver medal. Who wants to be the first loser? Not McIntyre.
Bobby. If you're not first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last. Ooh, look at this probe. He's hanging out like he wants to cannon rush, but it's a total mind game. It's a Nexus and a Gateway back at home and a Cybercore. So this probe was hanging out. Look at that, an instant overreaction. Not much, mind you. It's just the drone patrolling back and forth, but it's enough to gain a slight edge from Rob.
Yeah, Rob's just showing he's got that mental edge in this game, right? He's just like, oh, I'm gonna cannon rush you, and you know that Rob has cannon rushed McIntyre 1,000 times before at this exact same timing. So McIntyre has to respect it, and this is what can make a flexible Protoss player like Rob so strong in a series, especially against someone who knows their playstyle. Because quite honestly, Mackin has to respect this. probe. He has to respect it because he would lose otherwise, right? If Rob was going for the cannon rush, he'd probably get away with it. I mean, Rob's a good player. He knows how to do it.
I'm sorry, I got distracted looking at Twitch chat and reading another one of those Will Smith things. My brain was trying to decipher what was going on there. Will Smith, Rob, Root, Bob's mate, Nate. Yes, Will Smith, Will, Rob, Root, Bob's mate, Nate.
There's gonna be one person in the back, just sitting in the chair in the very back of the auditorium, being like, "We can go dumber.
We can go deeper."
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Stargate this time from Rob. Just about finishing up. We'll see if he's gonna choose to go Oracle or Phoenix. Probably see Oracle.
Yeah, speaking of aggressive builds from McIntyre, I was just saying I would love to see him do something more aggressive, and it looks like that's going to be the choice here. He doesn't have a third base. He's got a Baneling nest on the way. Rob doesn't have a shield battery just yet, but he's seen the overcommitment of Lings here, so he has to be aware that something's coming. He's chronoing out a Void Ray, but that might not be out in time for these Banelings to bust down his wall, and he needs to be able to hold that wall before the flood of Zerglings come in, or he's going to lose absolutely everything. But that being said, Rob is dropping a battery at his natural. He's completely walled off. I think he has a good read on what's happening here, and this is going to be very now difficult for Mac to do any damage here. It's just a full wall.
Yeah, I think he is going to have to go for... Oh man, these are big buildings in the wall too. Oh, actually, maybe a mistake. He cancels a building in the wall, and now all these units can get in.
Battery's not quite done yet. The Banelings are nearly there. The Zerglings are trying to whittle away at this, but he needs to get this down right away. He does end up getting it down. There is an overcharge, but there's no units to benefit from it. The Zerglings go straight for the probes, knowing that they're not going to do much on that Stalker, but as soon as that battery goes down, this is going to start doing a lot more damage.
Yeah, already some probes going down. Now some Zerglings attacking the Cybercore at the front, and with the overcharge done, oh my goodness, that's the only pylon here. Everything's gonna get depowered at the natural base, and now probes being attacked. There is a Void Ray here to defend, but I think there's just too many Zerglings here. A lot of damage being done to this probe line. The Stalker goes down. All of the probes are pretty much dead at the natural base.
This is my nightmare, Mike. This is my nightmare.
No, GG call from Mac.
I mean, yeah, I think Rob holds there, right?
I guess so.
He's ahead in workers. He's stable. He's got oracles out now.
That ended way faster than I expected it. Okay.
I didn't think it was over. I didn't think it was over, but yeah, that was pretty rough.
I did not think so either. All right, that is it for the losers match. McIntyre is eliminated, and we will have Root Rob facing Psystorm's Epic.
Yeah, I think basically he needed to just kill him with that, and because he was on 2 bases versus 2 base, Rob had air units out, and I think it was over. I think he's right. It was a little early for a tournament, GG maybe, but we gotta trust his judgment.
Yeah, did we get the map vetoes already? It looks like we did.
We're wasting no time jumping right into this.
I thought things were going very well for Mac in that game. I thought it was okay, but I guess not.
Well, I mean, Rob had a Void Ray and an Oracle now, and he didn't lose all of his workers, so I don't know. I think so now what Rob needs to play against?
Rob is playing Epic in the decider match now.
Oh, I see. Rob thought he was playing again, so we gotta redo the vetoes now.
Rob is playing again, but I think Pudikins jumped the gun and started I think he started what would have been the 3rd game for the last series, but we're not going to that. Who is A and B? Coin flip. All right. They're going to figure out who is going to pick and ban first.
You going to use a loony or a toonie?
Oh, I'm not doing it. It's there's a Google thing. It's Google coin flip. You just press a button and it does it for you.
Oh my god, what will they think of next?
Exactly. You know what? When I first heard about that too, I was like, "What do you mean? I'm not gonna find a coin and flip it? That's stupid." And then actually, someone had to explain it to me. One of the admins was like, "No. Use Google coin flip. All the players already know about it, and it's already a thing. Just
can they see what you're doing?
Just sit back down, Boomer."
Can they see what you're doing?
No. So we have to trust,
To
I guess,
share?
that Pootikins is, you know, an honorable admin and is not going to cheat anybody.
I mean, yeah. It puts me as a elderly male. It makes me uncomfortable that there's any kind of change in the world, you know? Like, what was wrong with the old way of flipping coins, Mike?
What was wrong with it? Well, first of all, who uses coins anymore? Everything is plastic these days.
I happen to have quite a few coins.
I guess this might be different being in Britain with having the pence and what are the other things you guys have? You have pence and
Pounds.
pounds. Okay, are those aren't notes, are they? They're are banknotes. They're actually coins. The British pound.
Well, no, I mean, pound is the currency, so there's notes and coins and everything. It's the same as Canada. It's just a different symbol, I guess.
Different symbols and
so,
names.
So we have coins and everything, but yeah, no, I mean, most people don't use coins for most things, especially with the advent of COVID-19. Everyone uses plastic for everything. But I mean, I still have some coins. If I had to flip a coin, I could probably find one if I within 10 seconds if I needed to.
It looks like Golden Wall is going to get banned yet again. My heart, it hurts.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with Golden Wall not happening in a PvT. I think I want to see some solid builds here instead of just some kind of random blink all in killing him.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, Blink is pretty good on Golden Wall.
Okay, looks like it's gonna be Epic.
Yeah, I think Epic picks first.
He's got a pick, yeah.
And it looks like our first map will be Death Aura.
Second map will be Eternal Empire. Robbie going for Eternal Empire, very interesting. So I think I can understand Epic going for Death Aura. I think in a TVP that's probably going to give him a nice chance to attack him nice and early. Eternal Empire obviously being nice and stable. I find that one frustrating in PvT personally because of the way your third is close by air. You can get that abused quite a lot. But Robbie's a very solid player. I don't think he's worried about drops when he's going to have 10,000 gateway units all over the map.
Yeah, Eternal Empire is really good. I like that map quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward and simple map at this point. Everyone knows it. Everyone has builds for it. Everyone knows what to expect and how their opponent's going to attack them. So it's a stable map for sure.
Oh, you know what happened in the last match that I totally missed?
What's that?
And why it ended so abruptly? Rob supply blocked Mac really hard during that rush.
Right. So he wasn't able to reload.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I was so confused, thinking that Mac wasn't dead, and that you might have had a chance. But that makes so much sense. All right, game number 1 is ready. We're going to be going on to Death Aura. I think both players are good to go. Let's get started. Oh shit! No, quit. One player wasn't ready. Quit.
Yeah, it's paused it. Don't worry.
Did they quit it or did they fix it?
No, it stopped. It stopped.
Okay.
It's like Epic is so scared of Rob that he's nearly soiling his pants. He needs to clean himself up. Rob is a scary player. I don't know, but I don't know if I've ever been that scared of somebody.
Can't say that I have. You know, I've come close a few times on the ladder when I see those people that I know cannon rush every time. They will remain nameless, but you know who you are. Masters 1 and Masters 2 players that cannon rush me 2 to 3 times a day every time that I stream. You know who you are.
You gotta love him.
All
You
right.
gotta love them. They can make, I will say as a spectator, Cannon Rush games make for some of the most entertaining games. I absolutely love Cannon Rushes. I don't like playing against them or doing them very much, but I love watching them.
I love watching them. I hate being cannon rushed. I hate it so much.
So it is surprising though that you know their names and your Terran and you still find them frustrating. I guess that there must be some high level cannon rushes on the NA then.
Well, the thing is, you prepare for the cannon rush, you know it's coming, And then even if you get the wall off, they cannon rush the low ground. And then they use that little spot on the ramp to get vision of your supply depots, which then turns into them trying to cannon rush the high ground, which then turns into a void ray, which then turns into a tempest, and it just keeps getting out of control. But here we are. Here we are. We've got Death Aura game number 1. In the bottom right hand corner, representing Psystorm, it is Epic.
And fresh off the heels of a very convincing win, Robbie from Team Roots.
Was a very quick and convincing losers match. Very convincing win from Rob. And yeah, excited to see him playing against a TERRAN again.
Yeah, PVT is a matchup again that I mean, not too many people are doing too many crazy things right now for Protoss. Like, everyone seems to be doing this 4-gate blink attack, which I find at this point a little bit boring, because it has the potential to end the game, and then I mean, it can be a fun game. It can transition into a fun game, but I don't know. I would love to see some variation in openers.
Yeah, one thing I have noticed is there has been some variation from some of the Koreans on in GSL and in other tournaments. So it's been pretty cool to see this matchup kind of evolve over the last couple of months. I feel like it has changed a lot more. We don't just see a tank push every single game at the highest levels. We do see a lot of different kind of builds, like things like innovation floating his barracks into the opponent's main on Everdream and building Marauders, and different types of cheeses coming out. Like we still see quite a bit of cheese at the highest level, but I think it's a little bit more varied, and it's like a fine wine. It's aged with time. It's gotten better.
Yeah, and obviously cheeses are their own sort of category. I do enjoy the variation here where Terrans go for this bunker behind the mineral line of the Protoss to make sure that they get the economic advantage early on. This can be really annoying to deal with as a Protoss player. I mean, even if you put a battery down or whatever, you're never going to come out ahead after this, I feel. As long as the bunker goes up, like, you need to stop it happening in the first place.
Yeah, I love seeing this, and I'm seeing it a lot with these North American games. I don't see it quite as much on the Korean scene, but I love seeing it. The Reaper gets into that bunker, denies the quick Nexus mining for, it gets you time to set up your expansion at home and actually, kind of stay even. So it's cool to see it happen, and it doesn't really deny too much mining from Rob. He's just mining from the further away rocks. Ooh, a little bit of a misstep. He loses one probe. Almost loses that Reaper.
Yeah, Epic showing some really good control here. And Robbie maybe not paying attention for a half second, had a chance to maybe get some damage on that Reaper, but there's already probes going down. This Adept has taken so much damage already. The shield battery's not quite done. This Adept is nearly finished, and actually it's going to be really difficult here to not take any more damage. But I think Robbie is going to push this away. He's ahead in workers just by a little bit, so actually I think that it went about as good for Robbie as it possibly could have.
Yeah, you know what? He gets the Reaper finally, but the Reaper does get the full scout off, so he knows what he's playing against, which will be probably 4-gate blink, as the Robo is going to be finishing after the Twilight Council. And, even though he's got the worker lead, Robbie loses a couple workers, and he loses all that mining time, really. The probes weren't really mining, and a battery is forced, so it's all these little things kind of added up that pulls the Terran a little bit closer to even. Only behind 3 workers with mules, that's a pretty good situation for the Terran, especially when you can salvage that bunker that was behind the mineral line.
Yeah, so yeah, obviously I think that push did what it needed to do, and these Marines pushing up almost get both of these units here, getting away just with their lives. That Adept was so low to begin with. Nice control from Robbie to bring those back and keep them alive, but he doesn't really get the scout off that he would like. He didn't even get really to shade up into the main base to see anything of what Epic is doing, and it looks like Epic is going to be going for a very fast 3 barracks push. He's going to get his stim, get his upgrades. He's not going to bother with any kind of tank push. He's just going to go straight into that 3 barracks production plus a starport. Already has a Raven to deal with any shenanigans of Dark Templar or anything like that, but looks like Rob's going to just go into the standard 4-gate blink. He's going to try and do some damage, and there's no tank coming out for Epic just yet, which could be a problem for him, as this is a very strong blink timing here from Robbie.
Yeah, I think you really need the tanks to stop an aggressive push like this. And look at those stalkers marching through the acceleration zones. I love the animations of these units with how quick they move through those. It looks so cool. But without the tanks, it's gonna be very hard to push this. And no medevacs are out either. There is a Raven, which might be good to help with like disabling the Warp Prism, but right now that's a lot of stalkers, and they can pick off the bio units very quickly. And they go for the Raven. They actually get the Raven. Good control from Rob, picking up the weak stalkers and dropping them and forcing a pull of all these SCVs. They're gonna get some kills. He doesn't lose any stalkers, and now this is where this gets very scary. There's no Raven, and there's basically no energy was used on it. They threw down an auto turret that did nothing, and Rob adds to the push. He's gonna try and pick off the bunker here. Good micro and good repairing from Epic. He's going to keep the bunker alive, but still really no losses on Rob's side.
Is nearly finished, not quite there yet, so the timing window for Robbie to keep this damage up is still present, but it's closing by the second. But I can't help but think this is a lot of lost mining time from Epic at this stage. He's losing a few SCVs as well, does manage to stabilize, keep that bunker alive, and Stim is really his condition here of being able to push these back. And a few zealots are being dropped into the Warp Prism, so the harass is going to continue, but I think Robbie knows that Stim is going to be present soon, so he's not going to be committing into that Marine Marauder ball anytime soon.
Yeah, he's showing the Warp Prism in the main so that he can try and maybe pull units away from the front and do damage with these stalkers. He does lose a couple. He's picking off Marauders, though. He's doing a very good job of taking what the Terran will give him. And look at the resources lost. Show the tail right here. 690 from the Terran lost already. Especially losing that Raven is a big deal. But now Stim's done. He's going to be able to push away some of these units with the medevacs. And Rob's going to have to kite back.
And we're seeing some Rob with some really, I can't describe it as anything other than immaculate Blink Stalker micro here. Just picking off 1 or 2 units at a time, blinking them back immediately, while dropping in the main with these Zealots. Does force this Widowmine to go off, does manage to get it down. There's a small pack of Marauders here, but the harass from Robbie is far from over.
Yeah, you know what? He's doing a very good job with that Warp Prism and controlling his units very well. There's one thing I've noticed from Rob watching him in Discord a lot lately, and that's his unit control. His unit control has been very, very good. He's picking off as many units as he can get with these small packs of Zealots and Stalkers. And, you know, Epic's crossing the map, sure, but by the time he gets there, a lot of his units have been shaved down, and he's going to put some pressure on this base, but there's so many gateway units now awaiting him. And, ooh, an overcharge goes off, but it's now unpowered, so I don't think it will really matter, though. All these units.
The power of that mass gateway style from Rob is really showing itself right now. He's able to warp in on this Warp Prism while warping in more than enough gateway units to defend, blink on top of those medevacs and snipe them down. So he's defended, and he's still putting on some pressure. Charge has finished up, which is making this a whole new level of pain for Epic at this point. These Zealots are going to get pushed down in the main, but so many workers have gone down for Epic, going down to 31 workers and counting. Rob is just harassing him relentlessly.
Yeah, just constant pressure on this side of the map, and that's after Epic tried to push with medevacs and Stim. You can really see how good this control has been with the Stalkers on the other side of the map, kind of slowing things down. And now DT's being thrown into the mix after Mule's being thrown. There is no detection here, no Raven, no scans available, no missile turrets. This is just relentless aggression from Rob. And up the other side of the map, he's clearly not all in. He's got a third base behind this. He's got lots of units in production. He's got +1 attack on the way. Just everything going Rob's way, and Psystorm Epic's just having such a hard time deflecting everything here.
Yeah, Rob just showing us with these stages of harassment. He's bringing Epic ever into a next level of hell. The DTs maybe the final level. Just harassing, doing so much damage there. So frustrating to deal with.
Oh yeah, all those charged Zealots and then warping in a few DTs as well. Just he lost the Warp Prism, but the damage has been done. He's lost so many units.
This kill on this engineering bay is probably not going to happen at this point. The DT is going to go down. Would have liked to see him kill a few more SCVs there, but I think overall the damage was really, really good. He's nearly has double the workers. Doesn't have upgrades to speak of. He is getting his +1 attack right now, which is going to probably bite him in the bum a little bit later on, but he's remaking that Warp Prism, so he's going to be able to keep that harassment up. He has tons of gateways, and he has a third base already built, so he has the economy to throw Zealots and Stalkers for days at Epic. So Epic is bringing a lot of SCVs with this push, though, and these Widow Mines are going to be tough to deal with.
The boys are on the way, and they are coming across the map with the army while the CC is going to burn down at the natural. Rob taking what the Terran will give him here, and look at this, even lifting the main CC. This is it. This is the all-in push from Epic. And look at this. This is so smart. He gets the CCs. There's no detection. Now a couple of DTs win.
Game over now for Epic.
Game
Yeah,
over.
the CC's going down it's over.
What a big brain play from Rob, picking off the CCs and then cleaning up with DTs. That was epic. That was epic.
That was epic, man. And it all comes down, really. I mean, the smallest thing makes a big difference, like you say, right? And I mean, this isn't small, but losing that Raven is devastating because you kind of make that Raven, and you kind of that lets you know, right? Like this is how I win. Like I'm good against DTs. But that fires off in Epic's head, right? He's like, he's not worried about DTs. He made a Raven, but the Raven went down. And if Rob just kept going after his win condition, he's like, my win condition is DTs with no detection. I'm going to make sure that you lose your engineering bay. You're going to lose your command centers. And, you know, he didn't get the engineering bay, but you can see where his head is at in that game.
Yeah, it's so awesome to see that, like, both those players thinking ahead like that. Like, he picked off the Raven, so he throws on the Dark Shrine. And it's just such a smart thing to do. It's almost like, you know, when a player early on loses their Reaper in TVZ. Lose your Reaper, now you don't have any scouting, and the Zerg player throws down a Roach War and builds 15 roaches.
Yeah, and it's moves like that make great players, and I love to see Robbie taking advantage of things like that.
All right, game number 2 on the way, going to Eternal Empire, as Epic is now down 1-0, fighting for his tournament life.
Though he's no slouch, man. He's no slouch. I don't expect he's gonna go gently into this good night.
No, he is going to go down fighting, or he will not go down. All right, in the top right-hand corner on Eternal Empire, fighting for his tournament life here, it is Psystorm's Epic.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire, he's up 1-0, showing us some fantastic Chad toss, DT, and sniping command centers play. He is Roots Rob,
also known as Bobbert or Robbie. What a Chad of a Protoss. I gotta say, you know what? I don't give Protoss a lot of props because I play Terran, but Rob's unit control that game, and overall in this group has been pretty incredible. It's been very, very good, and I look forward to seeing him do some more of the same here in this game. Just very good unit control and putting pressure on Epic.
Yeah, the dancing around with the Blink Stalkers in the main base of Terran, completely abusing their mobility while controlling the Warp Prism with these Zealots, and then also having the time to snipe a Raven, build a Dark Shrine, take a third base. I mean, Robbie does so many things really, really well. He takes advantage of that power spike that Protoss gets after Blink, and he just never stops abusing it.
That's right. He did so many things well with those Blink Stalkers. Like I said, getting into the main, sniping the Raven, getting a couple SCVs that are pulled offline, jumping down, picking off more SCVs at the bunker, and just doing an excellent job of keeping Epic behind from the get-go almost. Even after Epic had a very good job, or did a very good job with the bunker and killing some probes and denying mining time. He took too much damage on his side of the map from the Stalkers. I think some of that comes from not building any tanks. I guess he felt he could hold it with Marauders and the Raven, but man, that was rough.
Yeah, I think that's just maybe a little bit of a hole in Epic's play right now. I have to say, like, even we kind of saw that coming, right? Like, skipping the tanks completely. Yes, it's very tempting because you want to get that stim going as soon as possible, but the Blink build is so common right now, and having that vulnerability just makes things so much more difficult than they need to be. Get 1 or 2 tanks out, stabilize, and then do your stim push, and I think you'd be a lot better position.
That's right, and now we have a factory finishing up from Epic. We'll see if he wants to go for a Widowmine drop or go straight into either tank or Cyclone. I feel like he's going to try and do something a little bit different, maybe, as the last game didn't really go his way, and I don't want to say it was convincing, but it didn't look good from the moment the Stalkers were in his base. And ooh, a little misstep on the Adept.
Stalker comes out in time though to scare this away. It's almost, I think Rob did that on purpose, to be honest. He's like, oh, I'm gonna pretend that I missed my shade, and then you're gonna commit, and I'm gonna kill you with the Stalker. I mean, just Rob things, man.
That's right, and you know, with the vision, we did not see, or Epic didn't really see anything that Rob was doing. So he's got a couple of Hellions now going across the map to try and scout, maybe do a little bit of damage to the probe line. But Robbie sees this with the Adept, and now he's gonna have some sort of defense. He's gonna try and wall off in time. He does. Wow, that was as close as it could have gotten.
Yeah, that's a very vulnerable time for Protoss, and honestly, this map is really great for this because you can just wall it off with 2 buildings if you want at that choke point. So Rob knows exactly how to place those in a pinch, and I can't even place those when I have time to. So really nice there from Rob. Stops himself from taking any damage and manages to find the time to throw down a Dark Shrine. A little bit of cheeky move there from Rob.
And look at what Epic is doing. He's going for the Cloaked Widow Mine drop. So he's got the Armory, he's gonna have a medevac, but there's already a Warp Prism in production. The Dark Shrine is almost done. A Raven is very far away right now, and I don't think that there's going to be any scouting on this Dark Shrine. You know what? The Widow Mine drop's going to show up at the natural, and it has potential because of, you know, it's cloaked. They're perma-cloaked. The Observer's going to be a little bit late because we're going for a DT drop, but now even going for a Liberator too, detection is going to be so far away for Epic. This is looking scary.
Yeah, just these 2 drop ships passing each other like 2 ships in the night. This is going to make it all the more difficult for Rob to defend this successfully. The Widow Mines, no slouch. I mean, they're less dangerous than Dark Templar, but he's going to be losing a lot of probes here.
All right, the Widow Mines are dropping into the mineral line. We'll see if Rob is paying attention. He does not pull anything away. Very good hits on these Widow Mines. The 3rd one did not burrow, though. There's a 4th one in the main base now. Rob's DT rush is a little bit delayed as he has to deal with these Widow Mines, but here it comes. The 2 Dark Templar dropping into the main base. Still no Tech Lab on the starport, so the Templar are down. There's 1 Marine out, and the Templar are actually getting picked up and doing a lot of damage to these SCVs now. And finally an Observer comes out, but not before these Widow Mines get another shot off. So a lot of dead workers in this game. 18 go down for Rob, 10 going down for Epic, but these Templar are still alive.
Observer. Rob's got to make another Observer. This is still doing damage at his natural.
Did he lose it?
Yeah, I think he scanned and killed it.
Oh my goodness. All right, the DT's still doing damage in the main base of Epic. 3rd CC is finished, and now the Warp Prism is dead. So these DTs are going to be trapped in the main. But now, how many kills can these DTs get? They're going to chase down the siege tank, and it has nowhere to run. And now the Liberator is actually going to be able to kill. Wow, that's a little. I'm sure Rob wishes he can get those DTs back as he loses them all to 1 Liberator that's set up.
Yeah, this is looking pretty decent actually for Rob at this point. I mean, yes, he's down a little bit in economy, but he's got a bigger army, and he's going to be able to have his 3rd base come online a lot earlier. He's still got DTs, so he's going to be safe against drop. His blink is very late, and he's he's moving out with his army out on the map right now. Yes, the turrets are up, but look at these DTs still being very cheeky.
Yeah, and he's forcing a lot of missile turrets out everywhere too. And look at that. Oh, a DT just barely getting picked off.
Yeah, I love this about from Rob. Like, we were talking about this before, but when he starts harassing with DTs, the fact that you have detection and an army in position is nothing, has nothing to do with it. You know, he doesn't care. He just goes in anyway. He just controls them well and dodges around the detection, and basically like a single player covert op mission inside your base, just trying to disable buildings and use his call downs and trying to do as much damage as possible to disable your base from the inside. I mean, this is Rob is playing a totally different game from everybody else.
That's right, and now the harassment on Shu is on the other foot, as Epic is going to set up a Liberator and try and get some more harassment done. He's going to get 1 probe for the Liberator.
Yeah, I think Rob's defense of this is more than adequate. The Liberator is really not that much pressure on its own. It's in a nice spot here to threaten, so it is going to pin those Stalkers back, but I think with the superior economy of Robbie, he doesn't really mind leaving a few Stalkers back just to defend any kind of harassment. and he's going to be able to just start pressuring once Blink finishes back in the Epic's main.
That's right. All right, Epic is now facing some attacks from these Stalkers. They're going to try and get the Raven again, but they do not get it. Very close.
Yeah, fool me once, says Epic, and shame on me. Fool me twice. No, I've got that wrong, but either way, he's not going to be fooled twice. He's going to make sure that he keeps that Raven alive. It's one hit point, but he is going to be able to save it in time. He is getting some value out of it in this game. Bunker on the high ground is helping a little bit, but there's still no tanks just yet, and the Zealots are coming in to support this as well, so very committed attack here from Rob. But with this nice micro, he's already whittling down this SCV count even more than he already has.
Yeah, a lot of SCVs going down, but at the same time, some probes going down from the Liberator in Rob's natural, so it's not entirely horrible for Epic. You know, he's doing a little bit of damage. He's keeping the Raven alive. He actually gets the spell off, but now the Raven goes down, and so does the siege tank here. There's no units in the bunkers, so these Stalkers are gonna pick off a lot of units, but there's only 2 left.
Yeah, it's hard to say who got the better of that exchange. I mean, if you're looking at that as the dust settles, obviously it looked pretty good for Epic to clean that up, but he lost his Raven, he lost his tank, so his tank count's been reset, and more importantly, Rob's been mining from his 3rd base this entire time, so all these shenanigans that are happening, even though they might be even in terms of the trades, they favor him because he's got the superior economy.
Yeah, if Rob can just kind of keep up this harassment, he's lost some workers, but overall he's still ahead in workers, and he's mining off that 3rd base, which is so pivotal at this point, like you mentioned. And the longer he can stay on the 3 bases, he can probably set up a 4th base and keep this gateway heavy style going and keep up the momentum in this match, while Epic is just kind of held back on this 2 base economy. And the longer it goes, that main's gonna mine up pretty quick, especially with mules.
This is finally the tank being in position for Epic is hopefully going to stabilize this. The Warp Prism now being added to this, so it's going to be allow him to continue this harassment, but with charge and 1-1 on the way for Robbie, he's setting himself up into a really strong mid game. If he is able to take a 4th base now, stabilize with 1-1, the tank push is going to become kind of pitiful at that point.
Yeah, we're definitely too late for a tank push, and here we go, another drop into the main base. Zealots getting into Epic's base, his mineral line. And those Zealots are gonna just chase away all the workers, and again, just another hit on Epic's economy.
Love to see him snipe these engineering bays. I mean, this can be a win condition for him, right? If he gets the upgrades reset, he gets his 1-1 going. I mean, he's attacking the one that's not researching, so it's not the best, but there's not going to be an SCV pull. He's going to lose it, so he at least isn't going to have to deal with the double upgrades here. Does lose both the DTs, but I think that was, overall, that was not that big of a deal for Epic. He wasn't researching out of it anyway, and he killed the DTs.
Yeah, it works out in the end for Epic, but at the same time, he can't get... if he wanted to get the 2nd upgrade now, it's going to take him a little bit longer, right? And it's going to buy Rob more time at home.
And Rob knows about that, so Rob can push the issue in his 2-2 finishes, and that's going to make it a lot harder. I don't know if it's even going to come to that, though, with this big attack here at the natural. Only Blink Stalkers left. They do get a few key snipes on Medivacs, but now there's a good amount of Marines and Marauders. The Zealots being warped in the main. They do have charge. They might be able to go after that upgrade once again. It's not quite finished. This is very crucial for Epic to keep this upgrade alive. He does manage to clean up the Warp Prism, but the Zealots are still wreaking havoc inside this Terran main.
Yeah, there's so many units going down in the main. 11 workers going down now, and Rob's still pressuring the 3rd base. And, you know, if Epic can somehow defend all this, he's killed the Warp Prism again, and he's finally got that 3rd base landed. He loses 20 workers, which is a huge deal, but Rob isn't really on a high worker count himself. He's sitting at 54. The game state isn't as tragic as it might look for Epic. He's holding on, he's calling down mules and getting that economy, you know, up to where it needs to be to compete with Rob's mass gateway style. But Rob keeps pushing the issue, and he's attacking the orbital. The 3rd orbital goes down. That is...
Yeah, he noticed that he wasn't repairing it. Epic wasn't repairing that orbital, so Robbie just pops in for a quick snipe. Love these little focus fires from Rob. He's just sniping off one Marauder at a time. Maybe go in, get a medevac. I mean, so much value has been gotten out of these Blink Stalkers. This control has been immaculate from Rob.
Yeah, he's just constantly picking off what the Terran will give him, and on his side of the map, he's researching his 2-2 upgrades. He is chrono boosting them out, so as long as he gets that 2-2 up, he can keep up this mass gateway style and keep attacking. Another Warp Prism into the main. They just keep on coming, and more Zealots in the main base of Psystorm Epic, and it looks like Epic might be tapping out soon. He's losing so many things, but his tournament life is on the line. He's trying to attack or defend from 2 different angles. The Marines and Marauders getting picked off by all the stalkers. GG! And Robbie is your second place advancer. Second person to advance in Group B.
Advancer.
Second place advancer. You must hate listening to me as an English teacher.
Dude, no, I say stupid things all the time. Don't worry about it. We've all been there.
All right, Robbie is the second person to advance. We're gonna have a quick interview with him, and then that'll be it for the day. But going on tomorrow, guys, guess what? We're gonna continue with Group C tomorrow. Gonna be one of my, I think this is gonna be my favorite group, and not because there's the best players in it, but some of my favorite players. We got Jason, NYK, Creature, and Dolan tomorrow. But for now, we're gonna try and talk to Rob and ask him about this this series and this group. Oh, he left the party before I could ask him. Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing, Bobbert?
I'm doing all right.
What a series from you, man. Your control is out of this world, I gotta say.
Thank you, man.
It is very, very good. It was really cool.
That's how I won my first series to go.
Yeah, both series that you played, your control was fantastic. So you're finishing second place in the group. You're going to be playing against the winner of Group C. Gotta ask you, who do you want to play in Group C? Who do you want to
check it out
advance?
real quick.
Group C, you have Jason, NYK, Creature, and Dolan.
I want to play Jugger J.
You want to play Jugger J?
Yep.
I think that's
not
what
because
everyone...
he's the easiest, but because it's what people want.
I think that's what the people want, what the fans want.
That's what the people want.
The people want to see a Jugger J Root Rob rematch, and I think
maybe we could make it a best of 69 too.
I think that would take up the rest of the tournament time, and I wouldn't hate it. I think it would be a lot of fun. So there's a lot of changes this season and a lot of new maps. What's your favorite map this season? What do you think of the new patch?
I like the new patch. I like how it fixed PvP with the shield battery. I'd say my favorite map, I'm gonna say Death Aura. I think that's the coolest map. I think Submarine is a little too small for my taste, for PvZ and also PvT. Pillars of Gold is a little too open and really hard to take a third, so I'm gonna say Death Aura. Pretty cool map.
I also really like Death Aura. I'm not a big fan of Pillars of Gold. I haven't figured it out yet, but I think a lot of the maps, they're growing on me. Last season I loved all of the maps except for Purity and Industry, but I think these maps this season are growing on me for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think this season is definitely better than the last season, but I didn't hate last season's maps either. I think the only sketchy map is Golden Wall in the current pool, but even that map produces some pretty cool games.
Where you clearly weren't watching the TVT that I saw on Golden Wall, because I saw Epic.
Oh, the Epic one?
I saw Epic and Vindicta play one of the coolest TVTs ever, and it just so happened to be on my favorite map.
Vindicta played very, very good defensive TVT and TVP this tournament, but I still think Epic should have won that game. I had to preface it, not just, pooping on Vindicta. I think he played great, but I think Epic definitely let some of those games go.
I think you're right. I think he definitely wishes
coming back.
I think he wishes he could have had that a couple of those games back, or a couple of those engagements back.
For sure.
Real quick, would you like to give any shout outs out or link your social media, Twitch, anything like that? Now would be the time.
Yeah, shout out to Root Gaming. Pretty cool people over there. And you can check me out on twitch.tv/RootRob. I haven't been streaming lately, but maybe I'll pick up more a little bit soon.
Maybe. Just maybe. He's got some
We'll
pretty
see.
cool. If you like It's Always Sunny in
Just follow me,
Philadelphia, guys, he has some pretty cool emotes for that show.
We got some good memes over there.
All right, thanks, Rob, and good luck to you on Sunday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today on day 2 of the Miserable Cup. We are going to be showing Group C tomorrow, and it is going to be a lot of fun. But now we're going to say goodbye. Dane, would you like to shout out, throw your Twitch in chat, Twitter, any of your social media stuff? Now is the time while I look for someone for us to host.
Sounds good. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Red Dane, Reddain. I have a Twitch stream. Since the COVID-19 thing happened, I've been streaming pretty much every day. I live in the UK, so it's European hours, so it's 1 o'clock BST to 6 o'clock BST. So it's like kind of 7 to 8 a.m. start time for a 5-hour stream every single day. We do kind of like low Masters Protoss and TERRAN gameplay, a little bit of ZERG here and there, and then we do a lot of coaching and casting and stuff like that. So try to be an educational stream, and we do a fair amount of casting and coaching of viewer games as well. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and check me out on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/RedDane. I will put that link in the Twitch box. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my casting, and I'm working on it the best I can. But it's been a pleasure to be here, Mike. I really appreciate you having me.
And I really appreciate having you here, because I could not do that or do this without an excellent co-caster, and you've been just that. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to throw the host over to Atira, go show her some love, and I hope you guys enjoyed the games today, and we'll be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and I hope to see you guys then. Much love. Cheers.
Destroying queens. I don't know if they got any drone kills there. Hey Eldred, we did destroy a few queens, and the oracles are going to clean up anything that the adepts were not able to get. Misery, thank you so much for the raid. You're so sweet. I hope your tournament's been going well. You're such a good caster. Thank you so much, Misery. Thank you, thank you. Guys, click on Misery's name in the chat. Go check out his channel. He's amazing. Okay, oracles are flying back. How many kills do we...